This gentleman is prepping a Ford Mustang. Hopefully we get to see it at round 2 of the Link Engine Management Prospec Championship. He is here in his tried true S13. Make some noise for Matthew Bystrak.
Put that in the thing too. Put it in there.
So
Is Jared still in? Oh,
And we're live.
what's up?
What's up? I see we got the regulars here, but obviously we got our first time YouTuber over here with the green screen behind him.
first time YouTuber. What do you mean?
First time live.
Well,
YouTube,
generally
I
when you
should
have a green screen behind you put something over the green screen, but you know, it's
Oh no, just me. Actually, I'm in space. I was the trip after Katy Perry. So Hunter was like, "Yo, I need to do a podcast tonight." I'm like, "All right, I'm not gonna gloat and be like, oh, I'm in space, guys."
We're starting off strong, dude.
Behind me is like Mars and
Oh,
Jupiter.
okay.
No, the green screen is actually to humble myself. But,
Nate
yeah.
will edit it in post. It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry.
But yeah, my longtime best buddy, my ride or die. Sometimes makes me really harder
There's
on
a
the
lot
die
of
side.
It's been a lot of dying lately, though, let's be honest here. No, but let's get started with the regulars here. Brandon and Herbie, you guys do anything cool anymore?
Yeah,
I know Brandon's retired, so
Yep, I'm retired. I'm washed up.
Brandon's retired. Puppy
Washed
is
up at the age of 20, dude.
Retired from
cool,
what?
man.
Aren't you 19 years old?
I'm 20 now. All right.
When do you turn 21?
July. Right before St. Louis. Right before.
Oh,
St.
we're gonna get
Louis.
spicy in St. Louis.
There's good times down there.
yeah. Where in St. Louis? That's the question. Ugh.
Yeah, that was the other question.
What are the dog food factory down there?
Mm.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll still have fun there, sure.
Last year, St. Louis was, I don't know if you guys remember, it was beautiful. It was not that hot. It was like
It was
not
weird.
dog food smelly. It was like pretty sweet actually compared to what it typically is.
Yeah, I didn't trust it at all. I was just waiting for some tornado to come through and just ruin the day.
Yeah, Jersey was brutal, but St. Louis sucked because I had some bad calls, but the weather, not bad.
Well, it's judging. You know how it is. Just
Judge
like
sport, can't really complain, you know.
Only sometimes.
Only sometimes.
You can always complain. It's just
I've only actually complained once, and that was the only time I actually ever complained and like went up to the judges and was like, "Yo, like you guys got to explain this to me."
Yeah.
And other than that, like I take it, I take it on the arm or whatever.
You guys got to explain this to me as Vern's in his hands.
What's that?
I said, you guys got to explain this to me, but meanwhile, Vern was like pinned up against the wall.
Yeah, I came in hot and heavy. I feel really bad for Odie's wife, Amy, because she got the brunt of it and she did not deserve that. So I was very apologetic, but emotions fly high sometimes.
it's weird.
Passion.
It's like you like care about this or something. Like
Yeah, it's almost like, you sacrifice your financial future in many ways to like be there. I know we're just Prospec. We are the WNBA. That's like my favorite saying. We are. We're a subsidized league. We don't sell tickets. Like I fully understand that, but at the end of the day, you do have to take the perspective that like everyone there still is sacrificing everything to be there. Besides like the rich kids, like everyone is sacrificing everything to be there. So I know we don't sell tickets.
Yeah.
Like I know we are the WNBA, subsidized by the actual Pro 1 guys. But like at the end of the day, like we are there giving it our all. So to take us seriously, I think we are owed that at minimum. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Well, I think I'm gonna steal that quote. With the that should have been the title of the freaking show. The WNBA of Formula Drift.
Listen, buddy, maybe
I have ranted about this. I have ranted about this for years since the first year. I was like very quiet because like it's FD, so I like whatever. But like ever since then, like I've been pretty vocal about that. That's like my whole point. Like everyone complains. Like that's what I'm not not going to drop names. Everyone complains and says like, oh, we're owed this, we're owed that. Like, you're not owed anything. Like, if it was just Prospec and there wasn't like James Dean and Chris Forsberg showing up there, like, ain't nobody coming to watch you. You're not selling tickets. You don't have the live stream views. Like, I fully understand that side of things. And like these other people don't, that thinks that like they're owed something because they have like a Prospec license. And I just don't have that point of view. So I call us the WNBA because we wouldn't be here without Pro One, just like the WNBA would not be there without the NBA.
I think I can't remember, and I don't think I was around. They did one round of, I think it was Pro 2 back in the day, by itself, and no one showed up. Like,
I mean, it's like no different than like, I mean, go to a Pro-Am, no one shows up to a Pro-Am, which is fine. Like, I'm not there for the views. I'm there for myself. You know what I mean? But like, like, let's be realistic about the money side of things. Like, Formula Drift is a business. Like, they need to make revenue to put on all these events. I'm sure, Nate, you have a rough idea of what it costs for them to even run a live stream. Most people would be baffled if they even knew that expense. Never mind the salaries of everyone. Like, I get that. I do run a business, so like I get those side of things. That like everyone else, like, oh, they don't give us a birthday shout out on the Instagram. Nobody cares about your birthday. Nobody cares about your birthday. That's why, right? So it's like, I don't know. I just have a very realistic point of view when it comes to that stuff. Same thing when it comes to sponsors. I have a very realistic point of view. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, we're gonna get like, all right. When I went into Prospec, I was like, oh, I got a Formula Drift license. I'm gonna get like sponsors. They're gonna be crawling me. Bro, no matter what I do, I buy a brand new Mustang. You could be like topping points. Like, Prospec doesn't sell. Sex sells. Prospec doesn't sell.
This is true.
That's damn
this
right.
is true.
Looks
like you need to be taking the shirt off a little bit more now. So,
we're, I mean, me and Hunter have explored many, different avenues that I haven't bucked up and done yet. But I mean, hey, I don't know.
We'll figure
it out. Seems to work for a few of the competitors out there. So, you know.
Yeah, dude. You know, we'll show a little more skin this year. Don't you worry. You've been hitting the gym.
Well, speaking of this year, this off season, it's not been a quiet one. Let's say that for you. It doesn't sound like, at least. No. Why don't we give some people like a broad picture of your story with this special car that it sounds like you've had a lot of fun dealing with?
It's almost like
because it didn't start even this year, right?
No, so back to like the whole sponsors thing that I was just ranting about. Like, I went to get a Mustang because the main reason I like invested in doing this Mustang was because like it's a newer chassis, it's more marketable, you know. And it was like when I was talking sponsors, especially going into 2024, it definitely was a help in that avenue, which I was pretty stoked about. But the story of the car, it was built by a very, very reputable shop, Rice Fab, and they did a phenomenal work on the car. It ended up getting into the hands of someone because the guy building it couldn't afford the car. So someone else kind of ended up with the car to finish it. They finished it half-assed terribly, right? But then a buddy of mine, or not really a buddy, but someone I just kind of knew, 15 minutes away from my house, ends up actually buying this car from Tennessee or wherever. He had it for like a year and said he like kind of fixed up all these things. And I went and looked at it and this, that, the other thing. And I think I just saw a little bit shiny and pulled the trigger. And I definitely regret doing that. I've always said that I will always just buy a car from scratch. Like, if I'm going to build a car, I'm going to build it from scratch. Right. I've always kind of said that since the S13, because you just inherit other people's headaches, things that like they cover up that you don't realize until it's too late, like a lot of things like that. And so when it came to the Mustang, I was giving it like a good look over. I mean, it's a brand new, like this chassis was pulled off the showroom floor, had 900 miles on it. That's when they tore it down, stripped it into like the car was. I was like, oh, wow. Sick. This like is a mint chassis. Has a very nice cage, very nice fabrication work. It had a winner's diff in it. It had the Roush blower and everything, which was like a $9,000, $10,000 setup. So it had like a lot of big money parts. I was like, all right, like I can justify this. I knew the things that it needed. I knew that it needed wiring. And that was like the big thing. I knew that it needed a real good wiring harness. So bought that car at the end of 2023. The plan was to run it in 2024. And we did a bunch of stuff to it, yada, yada, that we probably didn't need to do. But I was willing to dump the money into it to make it competitive, because we can talk about this later. But I think it is going to be a very hard car to be competitive in Prospec, given our tire size. So we did I cut as much weight out as what I cut it down to like 3,000 pounds. We did a bunch of work to it. We put on the full JTP Hotline kit, which I'm very excited to finally be driving on soon.
Okay.
And then once we got to the final 10%, it was just nothing but letdowns and headaches. Our wiring harness for the car did not come until
3 days.
3 or 4 days before Atlanta, or before I had to leave for Atlanta. So
your throttle pedal was getting stuck and everything.
We did everything to get the car like ready for the harness, like everything we could do. But obviously, you can't drive the car, you can't start the car, you can't do anything like without the harness. So I couldn't do any of that until I got that. Finally did, and the harness was great. The harness actually worked. There was not a single wire that was done wrong. So great job to that. But that left me 2 days on the dyno, and that's when we started to find our biggest issue, which essentially was that motor was not the motor I thought was in the car. Again, me not doing my due diligence, just to be fair and honest, like I thought it was a Gen 3 motor, like that came in the car. It's a 2019. It was a Gen 2 junkyard motor that had no history, no idea anything about it. So we finally got this car to the dyno. We finally got it running. We finally got it idling. We finally got all these like little corks go out. Finally go to do a pull on like Sunday night, right? The Monday before we have to leave for Atlanta. And it blows the radiator cap to the ceiling. It has like 60-something pounds of coolant pressure.
Even before that, your injector.
Like I mean, we only have so much time here. I can go into hours of every little thing wrong on that car that like we just didn't catch until the time came.
Right.
Because we weren't messing with the motor, so we found out the fuel rail was basically held on by tin foil. Like basically, like it was just so bad. Yeah. The motor had a big crack in the block and shit like that we didn't really notice until we did start working on it over the winter. But we were actually welding the block back together because we're sitting there like, do we get a whole new motor? What do we do? It wasn't anything crucial, obviously, functioning of the motor, but it was part of where the bell housing mounted to. So there's like so many little things like that as we dove in deeper to the car, it's like, damn it. And it's just like, put us back. But essentially, we couldn't get the car running until the weekend before. Got it started, got it running. We had clutch problems, as Hunter was alluding to before. Finally got it like up and going. And again, the second we did a pull on the dyno, blue coolant, just boom, Cleo, my tuner, just shuts his laptop and says, that's it. Like, it's done. Yeah. So then from there, since I could only afford one dog box at the time, I had to take that car, take the dog box out of that car, drive down to Maryland to pick up my S13 where it was supposed to get wrapped. It didn't. It was black. Pick that up, bring the car to Moose so Moose could change the input shafts of my GSR dog box, then bring that home, put the trans in the S13. At this point, it's like Monday at some point.
Yeah,
then
midnight.
Load that up in the trailer, then drive down to Atlanta. Like the whole 2 weeks up leading to Atlanta last year was like some of the worst I've been in for sure.
Yeah, that trans did not want to go in either to make it even easier.
Yeah, and of course, like it's again Monday night. I need to be leaving for Atlanta any minute, and I'm like trying to get this trans in here, and it's like usually the simplest thing, and I'm just like kicking and screaming and like crying inside, yelling outside, and it's just like everything just fights you along the way. It's a side of motorsports that most people don't see, you know.
Oh yeah, well,
but it's the only side I do see, so I have a pretty unique perspective, I think.
Right. well, I mean, the thing is. Obviously, you stuck with the car though for this next season. You wanted to make it work. So
I want to make it work. I mean, I already was a massive investment. Like I did not spare any expense on this car, from the wiring harness to now, the new motor in there, the blower. Just like I just didn't spare. The whole thing's carbon fiber, Anderson composite, JTP kit. I'm really just trying to be like was just really trying to replicate JTP's car. I'm like, if he can do that and that thing, then I want to do cool things like that. So like, I really did spend no expense. I put a ton more money into it over the winter this year, and it's kind of dumb because it's gonna be a very hard car to be competitive in Prospec, I think. Mm-hmm. But I also do think that chassis has a lot of capabilities. I mean, you see the RTR guys, you see what JTP did. Mm-hmm. It's just relatively still a newer chassis to drifting. And I think with the right like money and brain power behind it, which I have like half of both of those, like I think it will be like overall a overall is definitely a proven and very capable chassis. I just think again, Prospec we'll see.
Interesting.
Especially your first round in Atlanta, throwing that big girl down the hill.
Yeah, that's the plan. Get your cameras on me because I promised Hunter, I said, I don't give a damn how much money I put in that thing. I am throwing that thing down that hill. And if we go in the dirt, we go into whoever I do not care.
So that means it's
that's all I've been
running,
wanting to do with that thing.
Does that mean it's running?
Yeah, it's running. It's running well.
Oh, okay.
It is getting a couple things tidied up and fixed on it, like some supercharger belt alignments, getting that perfect. Getting the dash and everything put back together in it. We are still going back to the dyno on Saturday, just to fine tune it. But it makes plenty of power, if not too much power. And yeah, then from there, we're hoping to do some testing on Sunday. Granted, all this goes well, but last 2 weekends, I've been at the shop, at the dyno, dealing with issues. This year, I get to the dyno 2 weekends ago. Well, when I say get to the dyno, that's when I go to a shop where my tuner is, and he like does all the start, like the PDMs, the setup, like that's where I go because I don't know any of that. So like I go there, and he logs in, and then we're starting from ground zero, from getting this thing started to getting it all the way tuned, fine tuned, and like ready to go out the door and do some testing. So 2 weekends ago, we're like we couldn't get this thing started, we couldn't get it running, and we're like, what the hell? I'm like, tuner Cleo like is the smartest guy you could really imagine doing this stuff, and you can even ask the guys at Link because he blows them out of the water every time. We run every test, and we're like, this motor's timed wrong. The guy who built the motor, like, it has to be timed wrong. We don't know the motors that well. We didn't want to pull the front valve cover off. Like, this motor has to be timed wrong. It's the only thing like that could possibly cause what it's causing. So then last week, had to get the whole front of the motor torn down, retime the motor, put all that back together, go back to the dyno, back to the shop this weekend. And luckily that all went well. That then we fried a PDM fresh out the trailer on Saturday for no reason. A PDM fries. So then we locally sourced one of those, luckily. And then like again by Sunday we finally were making pulls. Everything was good. Everything checked out. Again, we just ran out of time because that thing is very loud and we really can't be making noise at midnight on a Sunday. So. Yeah, so we'll be back there Saturday to do some fine tuning, but so far everything is looking good for Atlanta.
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm really curious to see how you feel driving it because it is such a different car than what you're used to, like in terms of the weight distribution. I don't know if it's similar to your S13, but like.
No, it's definitely, so I'll say like two things. It's definitely, obviously, it's way different. It's a bigger car. It's just everything is very much different on it. But when I did first purchase it back in 2023, I did drive it. So I did get a little bit of a feel for the chassis, and I did really like it. I wasn't necessarily fully, obviously, confident after a couple, laps of driving it, but I felt much more comfortable in it than I really thought I would off the bat. And I really liked some of the things that it did, how it would transition, how it would kind of hold angle, how it just never really felt like it wanted to over rotate. Like it felt like when you watch like the Mustangs drive, like the RTRs or JTP, like when I started driving, like I felt like, oh, like why or how this thing kind of has the capabilities to do some of those things, if it makes sense. It just, I don't know. So I felt comfortable and I thought I would. The hardest part I honestly had to deal with was the size of it. Even me, I'm a big guy, I'm 6'4", but even me, like I could like barely see over the hood. And I'm like, geez, so like when I'm like transitioning, like you just feel like you have a big hood in front of you. And, figuring out, like, I think that's honestly going to be my, maybe I'll overcome it quick, but trying to really figure out where the front is, where the rear is, especially when I get to New Jersey and especially when we get to St. Louis, we're kind of going up against those walls, kind of figuring out where those proximities are. I think is going to be based on when I drove it the first time. That's probably going to be my biggest challenge because other than that, I felt actually pretty confident in the car once I ripped the sway bars off and kind of set up a car how I like it to be. So
you used to own Mustangs back in the day.
Yeah, I used to be a Mustang guy. However you want to look at that. Started off my clutch kicking career in a V6 Mustang. Open diff, that's where we started. Then I had a 2012 5-liter Mustang. Right when I got in the Marine Corps, I got out of boot camp, saw that first paycheck, and I said, brother, we're going to get ourselves a V8. And that's what I did, and got myself a V8 Mustang. And I had a 2015 15 S550 when they came out. So yeah, I always had Mustangs. I've never been like a loyal Mustang person. I just always thought they were the best bang for your buck car. It was like a 450 horsepower V8 out of the box. It was like 3,600 pounds compared to a Camaro that was like 44. So that's like why I like went that direction, just bang for your buck car.
Yep.
And yeah, so now like full circle, I'm back in a Mustang, which is like, you know, Hunter and like Alex, we all kind of joke about that because that's where I started. So hopefully it does well.
That's why I have high hopes for you, because you, like you said, like you got into it, you know, your only test day ever in that chassis, and yeah, it, you know, you might have looped twice, but like, and then right after, like you just put the GTs on, and then you just immediately seemed way more at home, less clutch kicking, just feathering the throttle, just being able to just do stuff.
Yeah, that was a crazy thing I realized too, because for I don't know how many years now being in Prospec, I never drove on anything besides a GT. Yeah. And then like I bought this car, it came with like a bunch of tires, like a different brand. I'm not gonna like call a brand shitty on here, but a different brand. And I was like saw like a new car and a new tire, and I was like, trying to figure it out. And it was like crazy. The second I put on a GT, I was like, wow, this is such a way better tire. I was like, just like putting that tire on, like it just made me feel completely different to that car. And I was like, damn. Because I don't really define myself as being a very refined driver. Yeah. Like I'm very much like I can just kind of go and make anything work. Right. So it like sounds cool, but it's also a very much downfall of my driving, because I'll much more drive around something much more than like, hey, we need to fix this, right? Or hey, this need like I'm just like, if something's wrong, like I'm doing something wrong as a driver, and like I need to figure it out. But like that feel like going back to a GT and like just for whatever reason, just so much more comfortable in the car with that tire. It was pretty, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Then you were doing tanks right away.
Really?
Yeah, you and Alex.
Oh yeah, we were. Yeah, me and Alex were doing some. I totally forgot. Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were running some doors and stuff. So like, yeah, I was pretty comfortable in it, to be honest.
What's it like? Growing up in the Jersey area, you know, you guys have like your own like group of drivers that, you know, your whole section of Prospec, you know, comes from your area. Like,
even some old like heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say Club Loose makes the world takes. Not to give them credit, but
E-Town, man.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, I've been friends with Alex for like 15, 16, 17 years, however long at this point.
Right.
We were in high school together. The second we got our license, we just became friends. He had like an STI. You know, for some reason, I thought he was cool. Really just turns out he had a cool car. No, but like we like, and ever since then, we've just always gone back and forth, you know, like whether it's like rally cross or go-karts or video games or drifting, like we always are just really like I've always had him to really push me to like be better, because like one of the first things I learned in drifting was if you drive with a bunch of idiots, you're just going to drive like an idiot all the time. Like you need to drive with people that are better with you. You need to drive with people that want to be better, people that like again want to push. And Alex was that person. I was that person, definitely to a degree to Alex. And yeah, like I said, just and whether it was on the street when we were kids or finally getting into like formal drifting, like we've just always been kind of like just going at each other in that way.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and then Vogue up there, you got Joel, like those dudes that just like kind of.
Yeah, and Alex was always close. Alex got in with the Club Loose guys pretty tight early on, because a lot of those like Bloodmaster guys, they lived up in like Sparta, which was like the next town over. So he got in with Club Loose like very early on and like very good. I was when I was in the Marines, so I was like deployed and I was away, and I always wanted to get into drifting. And then like one day when I'm deployed, I finally get access to like Facebook, and I look on Facebook and I see Alex in a drift car at Club Loose. I'm like, what the dude? Like, come on, man. Like, and like, what are you doing? And yeah, so he like got in with them, and then the second I got back, I ended up buying his S13 that he was drifting in with the 1J. That thing was a disaster. That's the car that taught me do not buy a drift car. Just start from scratch and build it on your own. Clearly, I always need to learn my lessons at least 2 or 3 times. But yeah, bought that from him. Then we were doing Club Loose and Pro-Am together, and now Prospec.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, speaking of Prospec, FD decided to drop the brackets today. So
for sure.
I thought we could do a fun little just look at the brackets, talk about Atlanta, because I will say this every time. I be honest, I wish you guys were driving Orlando. just from a show perspective?
I want to drive.
fuck
I
up,
want to
Nate.
drive Orlando for a much different reason. Because
Okay.
every year I have totaled my car into that wall, and I'm so comfortable doing it now that I just have no fear at that track because I've just done it the worst way you possibly can. So
Yeah.
Atlanta is cool because like the ambiance or whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it of Atlanta, like I don't think anything beats that besides Jersey because it's my home track, and I do think the Jersey fans truly are the best. But Atlanta is like very close second to that, and being on top of that hill under the lights, like man, that is definitely a feeling.
Oh yeah. So I'm just quick throwing this.
Yeah,
up.
I mean, if they could do Atlanta and Orlando for you guys, take away St. Louis.
Right.
That'd be cool. Like I said, I'd love to make my peace with that wall. Finally. So when they want to go back down, I'll be ready.
Phil's actually got a good question right here. How light can you make a Mustang?
Oof. So without me in it, because I'm a chubby guy, I don't know how light you can make it. I know I'm down to a little bit under 3,100 pounds. JTP, I talk with him a lot. I think he's down to like 3,050 or closer to 3,000, maybe even lighter now. I'd have to like look back at my text message, but I know he was around that like 3,000 to 3,500 mark, or 3,000 to 3,050 mark. So we're right at like 3,100 now. I do know areas that we can take out some more weight, probably not for this year.
Yeah.
But that's again why I get back to why I think it's gonna be a very hard chassis to be competitive in, because it's on the heavier side. There are a lot of guys running the FRSs and a lot of guys running the 370Z. Like they're pretty heavy too. Like a lot of guys don't really gut them, and they're pushing the same weight, if not more weight, than I actually am in the Mustang. So I'm not like too worried about it. But I also know like Jaeger, like his 370Z, like that thing is very, very light. Even my 240 was very, very light. Hop, who's coming into FD, again, these are just guys I talk to. He is very, very light, and we're all on the same tire. So that lightness, obviously, or lack of weight, definitely is an advantage. Like Pro 1, right? Your tire size is dependent on your weight, right? UFC, there's weight classes, right? Weight does matter when it comes to these things.
100%.
Yeah.
Interesting. And like you said, it's probably going to be one of the challenges for you because it's a big car. There's a lot of, you're not on the biggest tire for a Prospec season, and so
Correct.
I am curious. So like, when you do plan on driving outside of FD, do you plan on driving on bigger tires? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I can't really ever get tired. I can't really ever save tires. Like I don't know what it is. It's my driving style. Even when I try to conserve tires, like if I'm in a grid life, like I just can't do it. Like I get like one lap at Lime Rock or like 2 laps at Lime Rock. And
it's hard not to do the whole track,
Yeah, I mean, I also just like an asshole. But I do try to conserve tires, but whatever reason, and the GTs, as great as they are, they do not last long. They are not like they do not last long. I actually do love the tire, but they don't last long. So maybe I do know they make the HPY. I would probably go to that tire like for fun stuff, especially since I have the S13 that's tuned down, has a smaller turbo on it now, so I can kind of hopefully conserve in that way. But yeah, I mean, I would like to run the Mustang at one of these tracks for grid life, put a big tire on it, and just really try to go out and have some fun. I also like the consistency of staying on the same tire.
Yeah.
That's what I have to compete on. So that's one of the reasons I always stick with the GT2. It is a little bit more expensive to buy than like getting something else, but I just don't like that changing tire ordeal. I know it's silly, and it is silly, but
well, if you're used to something, you don't really want to change it, especially when you're competing on that thing, and you don't want to be like changing things up before an event and being like, oh, now this feels different, Yeah,
I mean, the most important thing is seat time. I think everyone will always agree with that.
Yep.
So if you're gonna have seat time, like you should probably kind of be on the same tire.
No, I agree.
That has been my thought process. Again, it's a little excessive.
Yeah, good philosophy.
It definitely.
Yeah, no, it is, but I mean, it's excessive. Like when I go to Grid Life, so I'm on my GT 255 when I can get a comparable tire for like 30-40% less. But sometimes I just get stuck in my ways.
It's practice. At the end of the day, I mean, like ultimately, you don't own a sim. There's number one.
Sure.
2, you don't get often many
Brandon here
practice
wants an arm and a leg of my firstborn son to get this just the name. Like Man, I got the tires, stuff. $1 million.
$50.
If you want anything remotely realistic, you better give me your left leg.
Peeing at his cup.
Also, I mean, Ricky over here is asking for his raise too. He wants to know where his raise is at.
Yeah, he is. I'll go easy on him. He's been a big help these last 2 weeks, but man, he's a little shyster, yeah. For sure.
He is definitely the slickest guy.
It was funny when on Saturday he's been there. Like I said, he's been a really big help for me because he actually, as goofy and silly as he does come across, he actually is very smart when it comes to like cars and setups and motor, like all that kind of stuff. He really is. But this Saturday, when again we push the car out of the Mustang, we're like, all right, the motor's time, we're ready to go. PDM fried, and he is on the phone with every single person on the East Coast. Hey man, can we get your PDM? I got one on the way. It's gonna be here Monday. We're literally about to put this car on the dyno and it fried. Can you call Jimmy Oaks? Can you just take it out of his car? Tell him we'll put a new one in there in a couple. He's just like the confidence the guy has on the phone to just like start taking people's parts is just like unreal. It's funny. He's a shyster for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone needs that guy, though. I mean, let's be honest here. You need that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He also drives every once in a while, too,
Well,
yeah, when the subframe isn't split in half.
With Dick Richard. We had a good battle at the LZ day, and we did make a wager, and he wanted the wager to be like a pay raise. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. We did make another rate, and we did agree on another wager. I forget what it was. It was probably
it was a steak dinner and drinks. Yeah. And then as he went in for the shake, he said, and a raise.
Yeah, and then apparently the announcers like got word of it.
Oh,
and I'm
gosh.
like, man, now I'm like in front of 20,000 people. Like they made me an asshole.
Hey, it was some good fun though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and you were able to give a shout out to Outdoor Digs.
Yeah, give a little Outdoor Digs shout out, right? So whenever you hand me a microphone, whenever you hand me a microphone, I am going to speak.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, you spoke the truth.
Yeah, most people don't realize that about me. Because I'm usually generally pretty quiet in most situations. But you hand me a microphone, you're gonna get a different animal for sure.
Nate got a little taste of it from Atlanta last year.
Oh yeah,
he got to see the footage of
what
we recorded back in the pits when you were a little fired up.
I don't even remember.
I'm sure that you do, but
I'm sure that you do.
You had plenty of people crowding around the car, and there was many certain words that might have been said.
At Atlanta last year?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah. Atlanta was a fun time, I heard.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, why
don't we play that back? No, I'm kidding.
Instant replay right here.
Yeah. No, but
just like your fuel consumption from LZ World Tour that you wanted me to post. I was like, I mean, we can. I'll say it, but
oh yeah, I get a little rat. I'm a little spicy.
Hey,
for sure.
You like to have some fun. That's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, why don't we get into some of what's going on in Prospec? We got our, and I'm confused. Is this working kind of like what they're doing in Pro 1 now with like a little bracket, or is it still just you win your battle and you move on?
It's to the finals, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they're doing the whole thing.
Yeah, because there's only 40 drivers.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know. I never know how the qualifying works. I just show up and then I ask Alex. I'm like, hey, I say, that's like Alex, like, yeah, we're close friends. And we
speaking of Alex, he's in the chat. Hey, Alex, how does this work?
Like a perfect situation, like our friendship balances. Like, I don't pay attention to anything. Like, he gets me into events and stuff. I don't sign. Like, I'm like, he's like, you want to drive the event? I'm like, okay. I'm like, how the hell does any of this work? He's like, then he explains it to me, and I'm like, okay. But like, I don't know what this year is. I know that I'm not in the seeding bracket, so that's cool. So that means I probably don't have to figure it out until New Jersey, or hopefully I'm not in the seeding bracket in New Jersey, and I never have to figure it out. And I just do top 32.
But it might benefit you more to be in seeding bracket now.
That's the more point. I have no idea. I don't really care. If I'm being
I
honest,
think you will care about this.
Do you know?
Though. It's
Do
a
you know
pretty
the new
big deal.
points? The new point system? Do you know all that good stuff? Or no?
No.
I know I gotta be in Atlanta May 8th or 9th.
So
Aztec, I know I have to have that new kill switch. I know that my fire suppression needs to be a 10-pound bottle. That's like the only new things I know for this year. So
that's like the bare minimum. So that's good. That's
yeah, like I said, when
that's
we
a
get
start.
there Tuesday, I'll ask Alex. I'm like, so how does the points actually work? You know,
So it's like you don't win, you don't get points until you win a battle. So like in 32, if you lose 32, you don't get any points. So like last year, if you got out in 32, you get like the 16 points or whatever it was. Now it's nothing. So it's 10 points per battle and like the main day. So on Friday, then on Thursday.
Go ahead.
So on Thursday for seeding bracket, you go down to the finals, and each battle you win in the seeding bracket is 3 points. So you can win up to 12 points on Thursday now with the seeding bracket.
Yeah, I remember I was watching one of your guys' clips with Stookie, and you guys were kind of like talking about explaining. I didn't really pay attention well enough, obviously, because I don't really know. Yeah, I mean, I guess some people do think it's like pretty unfair, I guess.
Mathematically, it's technically unfair, but I like the idea of it because what it does is it gives you an opportunity. Let's say, for example, Matt, you lose your top 32 battle, you get stuck in seeding bracket. Well, it was last year. It was pretty hard to get out of seeding bracket when it came to once you got in it. So ideally, if you do well in seeding bracket, you win, you make a top 4 or whatever, then that gives you an opportunity to bank those points and give it a better chance of getting out of seeding bracket for next round, even if you do lose your top 32 battle. So like the idea is that you're continually rotating in new people into the seeding bracket, or at least giving people more opportunity to beat people that may be more at their level, to kind of keep them,
switching up.
Yeah, like
honestly.
Keep switching
and
up.
And I think it is. I think it is fair. I think it just seems unfair because we've discussed it. The first round, these people that were just randomly put into the seeding bracket, and then if they happen to do semi-decent in the main event, like there's only 50 points to win in the main event now.
Yeah, so they technically have a point advantage from the first round. But
so that's why Stookie's in 5th right now, and they're it looks like wow, like he ultimately, he won the seeding bracket, and then he got into the top 16.
16, yeah.
And then now he's in 5th. Whereas, who are we really looking at? And they're behind him.
Exactly. Well, like here's the thing, like the biggest problem with this point system is the fact that Prospec's only 4 rounds, so it's a lot bigger of a deal. And where I see this as being a problem, for example, a guy like Mike Power. I know he's got something to prove this year, being brought down to Prospec level. Let's say he wins seeding bracket and then does really well in Atlanta. Like, that's a huge boost for him that everyone else already in top 32 doesn't get, And let's say he does decent for the rest of the year, but wins by a couple points because of this first seeding bracket placement, then people would have a perfectly good reason to complain about it because they did not have that opportunity to win those extra points. So
yeah, I now that you're kind of explaining that to me, I definitely get it. I think there's bigger fish to fry, right? Like I think that like your bigger concern is to probably figure out what the judges want to see. You know what I mean? Like it just like to me, like all these little nuanced rules, and this is just putting bluntly, I can say this because I've never finished and I'd never even really made it to the top 10 in a season. Like all this stuff really just affects the people at the bottom.
Right.
It really does. Like James Dean is not going to lose the championship because someone did well in the seeding bracket. Right. So like I get it that like okay, it's like unfair. Stookie has points, he's in 5th, but he really only got top 16. Like it's not going to affect the championship of the season. It's not going to affect your top 3. Probably not going to affect your top 10. And it's definitely not, like I say, going to affect your top 3. And that's really all that matters, right? Nobody's really complaining on whether they got in 8th place or 10th place, but they will complain if they got in 2nd place over 3rd place or 3rd place over 1st place. And I just don't think it's going to affect those guys.
I don't know. I feel like Mike Power might be a problem this year. Depends.
Say that again?
I don't know. I think Mike Power could be a problem this year.
What do you mean? Because he's starting out in the seeding bracket, he potentially might get those 12 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
yeah, I guess.
Can
I mean,
you guys
also
see
too,
the seating bracket in front of you? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
I looked at it today, obviously,
Yeah.
to see who I have and stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So like that's just a hypothetical. Not saying it's going to happen or anything. It's just an interesting element to the season. But we can just go into some of the new people. Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of these people drive. I've seen some of them drive, the rookies at least. You guys might have some more insight than I do. Obviously, number one, we have Shelly Hansen. You know, stoked to see her out here. And I've been told she's a great driver, very consistent. She's actually beat Rudy a couple times from what it sounds like, at least in qualifying, stuff like that. I'm glad she's coming here. She's obviously going to have a great car. She's either using a new car that they're building or Rudy's old pro car. Either way, it's going to be competitive. Super excited to see her out here. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts, but
No, I have no thoughts.
No thoughts.
Yeah, I mean,
Not like good or bad. I guess like I don't know.
I think it is crazy. Look at the draw that the two Byrons are.
this is
women.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was going to say number two,
Women
you
in
got the other Byron
motorsports.
is Colette. You know, she's driving Jeff's car.
Maybe they'll make a post maybe they'll make a post together, like taking up space, you know, like Katy Perry up in the maybe they'll like, you know, have a sunflower and do all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to it. I don't really get caught up in the weeds. I have enough crap that goes on in my daily life to whether
Oh,
Other weeds.
Other
you have
weeds,
Yeah,
literally
so
weeds
you
to
ended
deal
there?
with, buddy. We got Kaufman and Stubstad. Stubstad was the guy with he had a broken 350Z the entire
That was
time.
the black one, right?
Yeah, it was Literal's old chassis or that he was running.
Yeah, it sounded like a tractor.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
hopefully he has a running car this year. Kaufman, I don't know. I don't know who
He's
he
a
is.
taxi garage driver. I
Is that
think.
who that is?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't.
All right. Well,
It's
I'm
promise
gonna
I've always
pull up
known them as the
I'm gonna pull
taxi
up the
garage guys,
drivers
so I don't
list.
actually.
Yeah. I mean, he won something to get in here, so he's got to
Well,
be.
that's the
good,
thing is not all
So,
series are created equal though, and you got to remember
That's
that.
true.
that is true.
Yeah.
where
So
did you win your license again, Matt?
US Drift, one of the shootouts at the first shootout at Langley Speedway in 2020. I guess it was during COVID, at the end of COVID.
Mm,
yeah.
I did Prospec first year 2021. Yeah, so
Mhm.
at that event.
yeah. So Kaufman
Yeah.
won his in USDC, so the Florida series. There's a lot of heavy hitters down there, a lot of Prospec dudes who
Mm-hmm.
do the Pro-Am event, which is kind of weird, but
I'm more excited
what it
for
is.
the next two.
Yeah.
Ferris.
Ferris and
Yeah.
or is it? Sorry, what's
Cameron.
Cameron? That's right.
Cameron.
It's Cameron Sorensen. So you got one of these next prodigies, kids, you know, coming in here. Brandon said he's going to be a problem this year, which I'm really curious to see.
I think he might be good.
I don't want to say he is, but like he's not
gonna have
terrible,
he's gonna have a
you
fast
know?
car regardless. You know.
Yeah, he's gonna have a good car regardless.
So
Yeah, I don't. Matt, do you know who Katormi is? Have you seen any of his posts? He drives.
Ferris.
He drives the. Yes.
So Ferris
He does
is like
time attack.
Time
he does-
attack,
he
yeah.
does-
Insane.
yeah, he does global time attack. World time attack has a bunch of records. Think
You know that
think
Kevlar Momo twin turbo C6? I don't know.
Think
Probably
think
not.
of it like he's similar to like a Robert Thorne. Basically a really good
Yeah.
racing driver coming in here.
I
Still
remember I went against Robert Thorne, and it was at Orlando. It was in the top 8,
Yeah.
and someone told me to go. I forget. I think it was Alex. I think it was Alex or whatever was at my window or something. And someone was like, "Oh, he's a rookie. He's just like some auto or some road course guy." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, I got this one. No problem." And it turns out he rips, dude. He actually he rips.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
especially once you start getting into pro, it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was.
Yeah.
He's not good this year, but he's definitely. That guy rips for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if something similar happens with Ferris, but again, he looks a little bit greener than Thorne was jumping in, but again, I'm not sure. He's got a huge following on social media, so another guy
Thorne's
that's gonna hopefully help the Prospec viewing.
Yeah,
numbers and
Thorne
stuff.
won that championship his first year. I remember sitting at the banquet and he was like winning the championship. Man, dude, we just all got shown F up.
From a race car driver.
Came over here and smoked all of us, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I see Ferris on the sim a lot too. Well, when I was
Yeah.
actually driving, but he's on there and he is like viciously only doing Atlanta.
Really?
It's just like strictly Atlanta runs. I'm
Yes,
like,
smart
damn
man.
boy.
Well, I'm sure he's training like he trains for any of his other races, and I'm sure he's got a strict regiment and all this kind of stuff. Like, he's a guy that doesn't lack following, doesn't lack money. Like, he's a race car driver. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he was, bred race car driver, which is like, that's what the sport's becoming.
Mm-hmm.
What I've always loved about Formula Drift is, one, it is like the highest level of drifting next to, like Drift Masters and some other competitive series. But like, ultimately, Formula Drift is like the highest level of drifting. And like, it still at some point was possible for someone to be good enough to make their way to at least compete at the top. Maybe not win against like the RTRs and the Odis and the Chris Forsbergs, but like, you can make your way into that competition. And eventually, like, Formula Drift is not going to be like that. You have the Sorensen and like all these, kids coming with money, just like motocross, supercross. Like, if you're not racing that dirt bike in the womb, you'll never be a champion. Right. And eventually, as money continues to flow into Formula Drift and stuff like that, like, I mean, eventually that is what the sport is going to become. Like Hero Manoa, like, 14, 15 years old. Like, he's a perfect example of that. Even Brandon Sorensen, he's an example of that, which is like, it's just the way it goes. Right. I mean, so it'll 100%. Be there eventually. And, the guys like me who cut grass for a living, not gonna make the cut.
Well, let's be honest, like, more money in the sport just means more eyes, hopefully, and more ability to get seen.
The sport's growing, and they give us their deck every year of like viewership and everything like that. And like, it is one of the fastest growing motorsports as far as social media. It has like some of the biggest views and the most engaging. So like, Formula Drift does have so many good like things about it, especially when it comes to growth. So it's a good thing for the sport. Like, I want the sport to do well. So it's just, you just got to fight. You just got to fight to stay in it, which I've been no stranger to being.
Awesome. Interesting. Well, next up we got Jimmy Johnson versus Brian Hopp. No,
Jerry,
not Jimmy.
Jimmy Johnson. That would be 48.
Sorry, I didn't know Jerry, but
they're in Daytona,
I just had to make the Jimmy Johnson joke. Okay, come on now.
Fair enough.
I was talking shit about that battle today in a group chat with Hunter. We'll keep it.
But big Brian Hopp, man, another guy from your area.
Hopp's my boy.
I'm
definitely
nervous for him. I am.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a tough battle for him. I saw him at East Jerry or whatever his name is, the whatever mustache guy. I saw him at East 10 last year. Like, the dude definitely rips. He's definitely kind of probably maybe a little bit of a wild card, but he definitely rips.
That's cool.
Hop does as well, and Hop's also like
a wild
card.
Has he got a crazy car for this year too?
Yeah, I mean, it's an S13, and it's like designed kind of by like Chelsea.
That's interesting.
Who's helping him out. So it's an S chassis. He's got Chelsea's brain behind it. So you really can't go wrong with that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely built by MA. So yeah, he's got a good program. I mean, I talk to Hop, not daily, but close to it. He's coming out like serious, which is like how you should do it, right? If you're gonna spend the time and money invest into like doing this, like, do it right. And he's definitely doing it right. He's got the right people in his corner. He's definitely funding his program to where he's not going to fall short as far as like the car or the parts or the spares or anything like that. So he's 100% doing it right. And I'm excited to have him there, just to be in the pits, and just to have another homie there, at FD. That's one of the funnest parts about it, especially when it was back in the day. It was like me, Ricky, Steve, and Alex. Like, it was just like the bros at every event. So
Rich Whiteman.
Yeah, Rich Whiteman, Mike Power. Like, it was all like the East Coast bros, like, just showing up to Formula Drift. Like, what's up, guys? So having him come join the party is pretty cool for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah. Another landscape guy.
Another landscape, big mulch guy. Big mulch guy.
There you go. Who knew mulch, man? It'll get you a real nice S13. Which actually brings up the other interesting battle, Mike Power versus Alan Boss. Now, Power is the guy that like I said, I really don't know what to expect because obviously he did pretty well in Prospec when he was in it, but when he went to Pro, you could tell that the jump was a big jump for him, and
For sure.
it was one of those where like it was hard to see him really trying to progress, but he would either run into money issues or have a big crash that would set him back, and it was
I know. I paid. I'm pretty good friends with Power to a degree.
Yeah.
And I remember watching. I remember watching him his first year, and then I was honestly very impressed by him his second year.
Yeah.
He didn't do well in points, and he didn't do well in the overall standings. But like he had tough battles. He had tight battles. Like it wasn't like he was out there looking dumb. Like the dude just had like tough battles. And then last year I think he just he ran into hardships in other places, and he didn't do so well. But like the dude, he did rip. It's just
The question is, how is he going to do in Prospec, though? Like, do you think stepping back, it's just going to be that much easier for him to be?
I think so. Yeah. At the end of the day, you're like Pro 1 is a big step from Prospec. Like we look like idiots out there for the most part. You know what I mean? Like you guys are out there with cameras. You guys watch Prospec practice, and you watch Pro practice. It's a pretty big difference. Honestly, not even really the cars. The only difference really in the cars is the tire to a degree, right? Like we're not driving Osbo's car or an RTR car, but like the power wise and like mechanical grip wise, they're kind of similar. It's just a much bigger tire, which does make a much bigger difference. And they definitely do have probably some much better engineering going into it. Like Odie's car, that thing's like a light switch. Like he touches the throttle and that thing's gone.
Yeah.
Like even just watching his video he had the other day and like his driveway, he's doing donuts. I'm like, dude, that thing's just stupid fast doing donuts in the driveway. But my point is like going down to Prospec, I think at the end of the day, you're just going into a car that's probably going to be easier to drive against drivers that aren't as good. So as long as he doesn't get in his head, like, I'm in, like, you know what I mean? Because it's very easy to get in your head when you kind of got demoted a little bit to Prospec. As long as he doesn't do that, I think, based on the way he's driven in Pro 1, I think he would do very well, honestly.
100%.
Till you knock him out,
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have got me and me, brother. that's a different story, but
yeah.
Shoot.
All right, next up we got Colin Zielinski, and I think it's Carson Ruger.
Yep.
Colin Zielinski, I battled in East 10. I went down to East 10 last year just to get some seat time, and I battled him a couple times.
Is that the S14 guy?
Yeah, it's the S14 guy. He beat me once, and then I beat him the second time. But he seems like a very very consistent, like smooth driver.
Yeah, I think he's out. He's out, and I think it might be like Minnesota, kind of like where Robbins is. I think, or no, he's like friends with all those guys up there. So
yeah,
I think that's where he's
know. I don't know really anything about him other than when I met him last year at the East 10.
Good driver.
He seems like a very just like good, consistent driver. It seems like going to Prospec definitely might be a little bit of a jump for him. Just like kind of watching how he drives and like the kind of his setup and stuff. But I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. I don't know much about Carson. Brandon, you Carson?
A little slow.
Yeah, I'm good friends. I'm to a degree, I'm good friends with Carson. I've spoken to him a few times. He's under Rome. He drives a Garagistic E92. It's got like a supercharged 6.0 LS, so it's like a decent car, and he's got a good program behind him, good people. Yeah, I think he won Drift League, so the California series. He won 2 of the 3 rounds they have, so it's not bad at all. So we'll see how he shapes up in good old Pro spec. Huh? Yeah, another Cali guy.
Damn, I'm gonna not know so many people again.
Yeah, it's always that first round. There's always these new guys, and I personally don't cover Prospec like I used to, or not Prospec, sorry, Pro-Am. I don't get a chance to cover the Pro-Am series like I used to. Like I used to know everyone in Pro-Am before, schedules, make it
before
like
it became a big shot.
I never knew anybody.
You don't even know.
Still doesn't either now.
That
guy's actually cool.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely I am genuinely there because I want to be there to drive.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm there. I really don't care about anything else around it. I want to go there. I want to drive well. I want to drive against the best drivers that they will possibly let me drive against. If they said, "Hey, Matt, go to Pro 1. I know you finished like 30th last year, but we want you in Pro 1." I'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" That's what I'm there to do. I'm driving some of the coolest tracks against like the best drivers I can. That's what I'm there for. I really just don't pay attention to any noise around that. Yeah, that's what I thought for. I also film me on things I need to.
Yeah, he's got the drama all the time.
Yeah, he cares about things.
He cares about things. Quote of the day: he cares about things.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't know anything we have learned tonight. This is what Alex just said.
That's amazing. Jay Ruth. Do you guys know who Jay Ruth is?
No fucking idea.
No, another new guy that I don't know.
Sorry,
Adam?
buddy. Whoever Ruth is.
I actually looked. I was looking at the driver thing. He drives a yellow Z.
Okay.
Nice. Yellow 350Z.
Another 350Z guy. And Adam obviously had the new Edge, so another Mustang brethren. Although he does run.
He's got a 4.6 in there too. The guys.
No, I'm pretty sure it's an LS, buddy.
Oh yeah, now it is an LS. I had talked to him. Yeah, I think he had the 4.6, and he just couldn't get it to, I guess, last at the power level or whatever. And then he went to LS.
Yeah,
it would have been cool if that thing still was a 4.6. That would be,
bro. I don't. Why would you try that with a 4.6?
I don't suggest it. Listen, I firm mantra, like if you're not rich, then you stick to the basics. You stick to S chassis, BMWs, JZs, and LSs. If you got money to make something cool work, go ahead. But
I mean, he does like I think he has a one-off like quick change in there though, to make it fit underneath
I think
there.
He does have something pretty cool with that.
Pretty trick, like. And I remember, I think it was the first round. I don't know. I know it shouldn't have the factory fenders on it anymore. But you okay?
Sorry. I was reading the comment that Alex put in the chat. He said, "Look at Brandon doing his homework," and that was from Shayna. So I just threw my hands up. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. But when he's not competing VDC, he's doing.
No, I think his car too is like I don't know, but it would make it cool if it is. I think it's like a real Terminator with like the independent rear and stuff like that. It's like that is cool. That's why I said it was like because I'm like I am a little bit of a Mustang fan. I guess I'll admit to it. Like the Terminator, like that's like definitely one of like a very cool car. So like having like a like that setup, I think is just pretty cool.
That's one of your dream mobiles.
Yeah, I fight every day not to go buy one.
They're kind of cheap.
Yeah, they're not bad. I think it's a car that won't really depreciate much more than it already has.
Right.
So it'd be just a fun street car to have. See how much I want to go down this Mustang, on this Mustang route that I'm headed down.
When you start really turning heads and Ford sees you at Atlanta, maybe you'll pick one up.
Yeah, maybe Henry will come on down and be like, "Listen, brother, you need some funding."
Henry's
coming out of the grave. And
he's coming down from heaven.
I'm gonna drive that thing so well. Henry Ford pops out of the grave. Says, "Damn, son, I need to get you some money."
Yeah, you and us all.
For sure.
All right, so since we don't know half of these drivers, I don't really think we can even guess like a finals.
We did pretty good. Matt is still just figuring it out.
Yeah, but could you even do you guys even have a guess for a finals for this?
Just Katormi and Colette maybe.
I'm going Colin and Hop finals.
I'm going Power and Cameron. We'll see how this goes.
Alex,
I don't know.
You've been headed down the Mustang route since you were 17. Who the fuck are you kidding?
You said that?
Alex.
I know, but I had a pretty big break because you mean.
Oh, I guess they're all gone, and it's just me now. Maybe they'll come back. I hope they come back. Well, while they're coming back, oh, there they are. All right, let's see if they came back in the same order. Nope, of course not. So now I got to rearrange the cameras.
Now he don't even hear us.
Yeah, now we're all in.
Now I hear you.
All right.
And now I got to rearrange.
You're the one that gets kicked out, and we're all here.
Yeah. Well, I'm still here kicking. So, but let's go ahead and switch over to
the main event.
The main event. Over here.
I want to see who Dusky's got in the finals.
Oh yeah.
Going Alex and Dusky in the finals. What you
Oh,
heard about
no,
it?
man.
It could happen, dude. It could happen.
Oh, he's got to go against big old Farouk over there. Better watch out.
World ain't ready for that.
What, an Alex and Bystrak fucking final?
Yeah.
That's
You
my
know-
money.
Doing backflips.
I do want to do.
He did well. He does well in Atlanta. I do well for myself in Atlanta, which is like top 16. But he does well. maybe it will. I don't know. Who knows?
Guess we'll find out. No.
I like I like my side of my bracket. I mean,
oh yeah.
I fear no man.
Yeah, we'll get to it here in just a sec. We'll go top left first though. Cody Buchanan. I want to give a shout out to Cody. Like, I'll be honest. I remember seeing this guy when he first came into Prospec, all goofy. Like, dude looked like it was a monster truck. The fenders were all like, he made his own fenders. Like, dude looked like he was doing his own thing, and now he was like 4th overall last year. You know?
Yeah, no, he did very well last year. I remember watching him. He definitely stuck out a little bit. He was pretty impressive for sure.
Yeah, you know, he just makes it work, which is, you know, it's good to see.
What do you gotta do?
Yeah. So I'm hoping for some good things for you, buddy. All right. First battle we got here.
Sorry, I was reading the comments, but I used to think Buchanan, like, when he came in, I was like, this guy, he ain't gonna go nowhere.
Isn't he? He was such a goober. I was like, who's this guy?
This guy kind of stinks. And then all of a sudden, he don't really stink anymore. I'm like, damn it.
He's good.
Damn.
Yeah, him with the pink race suit and everything, man.
Yeah.
He's
Just
going
doesn't
for
know
it.
what to do with his hands.
I still love the hit the reset button on his interview. That was
Atlanta.
good. Yeah. But yeah, next battle we're gonna quick check in on is Sam Magmumi and Jack Davis. You know, Jack obviously from your guys' neck of the woods.
He is.
And Sam
Where?
in that wild BMW.
Where's Jack from?
I think he's from the Midwest.
No, he's not from your guys'?
He's got that BMW that makes 1,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
200 RPMs.
Yeah.
Who, Sam?
Yeah.
Sam's got the S54
I don't know.
thing.
Maybe after
Freaks.
Shanahan touched it and put an actual good tune on it, maybe it might.
Put the logo of the Irish in it.
Well, that's the thing, though, is
He jumped a
Shanahan did
little
take that
Irish.
car to a podium in Irwindale somehow. So,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah, that's like why I thought about renting my S13 out actually.
yeah.
And actually kind of running a 2-car program. But man, if like someone just hops in that thing and they like win a championship, I'm gonna be like, God, I'm a loser. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's kind of that's like I don't know, dude. It's kind of like so.
It's good for the brand, though.
Yeah, for sure. So I
You
mean,
know?
I don't know how to say his name, Mac Mommy, but he did well, right? Because it is proven, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. But Jack, I think, has been in the top 10 before in terms of overall in previous
he's
years.
consistent.
Jack's solid for sure.
So-
Jack's solid.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that battle.
I
Should be
didn't
a
think
good one.
that he was competing again.
I heard that he was like
Right?
debating
Didn't he
on
like
it.
post that he was like I don't know, something, and then that's why I honestly, when you just pulled this up, I didn't even notice him when I looked at this earlier. Clearly because I said that 4 women had buy runs in the group chat, and I was incredibly wrong because I can't read.
Only
apparently.
two.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll get to those other 2 in a minute
Look,
here.
yo, James
He's
Kakula
got some pictures of Rusty. Ooh,
The doggy. You got D
Uh,
Miles coming back for another year. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two. Well, there's no longer another stylish S13 out there. Dustin's all Miles
know.
style by
He's-
himself.
He's all by himself now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you a little sad about that?
He's got.
I can't
Chelsea's
imagine.
brother,
I can't
13.
imagine that Mustang's going to be as low as the S13 was.
No, for sure not.
And then your other Mustang friend over here, Chris Leonard.
Shout out to Chris Leonard.
Yeah, is he
Yeah,
a guy that you kind of talk to at all about the Mustang, or is that?
I don't talk to him directly too much, but like
Yeah.
I will say one thing, like he's definitely a great dude. Like he always offers the help if I have it, especially last year when I was like in the last like 48 hours of like running into little like Mustang issues. I was hitting him up asking him questions, and he was there to answer like anything he could. But at the end of the day, it is the same chassis, but like you know, when you're running different clutches and different parts, like things like still at the end of the day are so not universal, but like different that, you know, but you know, you definitely got to give him credit because he has been pioneering that chassis to a degree. And like Prospec, like obviously there's other guys doing it, but like it's definitely not something easy to, you know, take on and go into Prospec with. And like 100%. I said, he's always been willing to help me. He's always had a great attitude about it. So definitely, I have nothing but good things to say about him. For sure.
Yeah, and he was starting to show some decent form at the end of the year last year. You know, figuring the car out and stuff. I think I was talking at the end of the year last year, and he had found some things on some of the steering that really helped him, because he'd been fighting the car, you know, ever since he built it.
Yeah, he changed over from the electric steer because the S550s had the electric steering rack.
Yep.
And he ran that, and I guess he said it was too slow, too lazy. I think that was his opinion on it, not to put words in his mouth. But he ended up going over to a hydraulic rack, I think, with like an electric pump, like electric over hydraulic. I think that's like the technical term for it.
Yeah.
And he loved it much better. He switched over to Wisefab for the front end. So he definitely made a lot of changes from where he started out with the Mustang. Me, I am keeping the electric rack. Like I said, I'm trying genuinely to build JTP's car because, again, my thought process is always kind of pretty simple. It's like if that dude can do what he does in that car, like I shouldn't have an issue. And if I do, well, then that's me, and I need to figure it out. You know what I mean? That's kind of like my take on things. Like back to what I was saying before, I don't really look to. And it's a flaw of mine. I don't really look to like kind of like fix things. I just try to drive around them to a degree. And I wish I was a little bit more fine tuned. So my thought process again is like, all right, building this car, how he did it, how he wanted, how his like that's how I'm gonna run it. And then if I can't figure it out, then well, that's on me. That ain't on the car setup. Clearly, you know what I mean. Yeah, people do also have different driving styles, right? That is a factor. But that's my thought process going into it. So
you got the dusky line.
I do have the dusky line for sure.
Sometimes good, sometimes not very good.
You never know.
But it stays consistent on the dusky line.
There you go. But he's going against another, I guess you could say, veteran of Prospec now, Adam Knapik, or Knapik, however you say his last name.
He's a good dude too.
Knapik.
I like Knapik. He's a good dude.
I always like how his car looks. I think his car always looks pretty nice.
Very pretty car last year.
Yeah. Very nice wheels. Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you gotta say?
I feel bad. This dude, he never does good.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Damn. Herbie just calling Adam out, just being like,
damn.
Like, and it's like one thing, you know, like it just seems like it's not really him. It looks like that car is always just struggling. He's understanding.
It does seem it does seem a little bit more on this. I think, I don't know if I remember correctly. I don't remember much, but I feel like it's always kind of been like on the lower, more stylish aspect. But I think he kind of slowly started to change that. I don't know. I could be remembering things wrong, but
last year it was pretty gangster looking. He had the big 3-piece wheels on it, and I remember explicitly at Utah, you know, and like, you know, everybody's a little guilty of doing this, you know, coming around the outside 3, and like you start to wash the front end, and it just starts understeering a bit. But his seems so consistent there, where it's like, damn, dude, like that, I feel bad, you know, like I know this dude can clearly wheel.
You definitely got to give up some style when you get into competition, especially FD. I mean, I think Dustin Miles is the perfect example of that. Like when he was first doing FD back in the day, he was really low and like all that kind of stuff. And his S13 looks sick, and I think it still looks sick. But he definitely kind of like changed gears a little bit, where it's like, I got to raise this thing up. I got to make it more, you know, competitive without sacrificing, you know, the style that I do have. So
exactly,
that's a sacrifice you got to make.
It's a challenge, definitely, especially when you're running big boy wheels like that.
Yeah, that was always my dream. And how many times was I told by you, Matt, and Alex how stupid that would be if I ever wanted to compete or anything. If you go on the track, you're just gonna have a miserable time. And I said, yeah, okay. And then I saw a dude go on track like that. I'm like, wow, he looks like he's having a miserable time. I'm like, huh. I guess an SR20 with 19s on isn't gonna cut it, huh?
All right. We got Amanda Sorensen, who managed to get, I think it would that be 7th last year? She's 4th seed now.
Something like that.
She's going to be in a super competitive car. Always curious to see what side of her we get. I feel like consistency's always
Bold
been
statement.
like her thing, you know. But I don't know. We'll see. And then over in the other side of the bracket, look, we got homeboy over here against Farouk. Yeah.
Let's go. Do it.
You know what? I'll take anything besides driving all the way down to Atlanta just to battle Ricky.
Yeah.
That was last year for the seating bracket. And I was like, dude, we could figure this out 15 minutes down the road. We'll go to Jersey. We'll battle. One of us is going to save thousands of dollars. It just won't go to Atlanta. Like, let's just figure this out down the road, dude. And we don't even have to go. Exactly. But we drove all the way down. We lived 45 minutes apart, and we had to drive 16 hours to battle each other. I'm like, yeah, damn. Luckily, the better man came out on top.
Yeah.
Right. But dude couldn't. His car was just straight off the trailer, broken, just already, just in shambles.
Yeah, he lost to himself. He lost. He had throttle issues, but he knew about them before the event, and like,
yeah, I heard about that. He told me all about that. That was funny.
But all it was, like, just put a 350Z pedal in there, and like, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Alex Yeager tells Herbie to keep it in your pants. So Herbie, can you please do that? Thank you very much.
You don't know what's going on below the camera.
All right.
See?
But Farouk's always a guy that's like, seems to be a solid guy to follow, solid guy to chase.
Yeah, I couldn't really say much about his driving. I never really had a conversation with Farouk, to be honest. I don't know. I mean,
he's pretty smooth. He's not very fast.
Yep. He likes to and he's talked, and I've talked to him about it, and he likes to have a looser car at these events. He likes being able to try and hit the zones the best he can, and let the lead lap do the talking. So definitely will be curious to see how that goes for him. On the other side, we also got Corey Talaska, running his same setup. Looked like, but he's a guy.
Wise Fab.
Oh, he's Wise Fab now. Okay.
That's new. Yeah.
Okay, so curious to see how that goes for him, because he was a guy that was definitely one of those more getting better and consistent next year. And then in the other side of the bracket, we got Kelsey Rollings and I think it's Josh, right? Josh Hobbit.
Jace.
That's right. It is Jace. Yes, and he's in Dylan Hughes' old S13, right? I think it's Dylan Hughes.
I don't.
Oh, that's the dude with the.
Think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Dylan's old S13.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, another guy, second year. Probably going to be better things coming from him. I'm kind of surprised to see Kelsey out here, but good for her for making the trek out here, just with everything that she's been going through.
Why? What's her deal?
Oh, just everything with her boyfriend.
Remember that? Yeah.
Boyfriend. I think it was a motorcycle accident and a whole bunch of medical stuff going on. So hopefully that stuff gets resolved. But I don't know the whole story, so I can't really talk much about it. So
yeah, not much to know about her program, as there wasn't much posted in the off season. So
yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if what her car looks like. Could be same last year, but I don't know. The other guy, I'm kind of surprised to see him back out here, is Dimitri.
Yeah,
I thought he wasn't
trailer.
doing it. I thought he wasn't doing Prospec again.
Last time I talked to him, he said he was. So,
I'm happy about it. I like Dimitri.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. What was it that he said to us or whatever on our live stream, Nate, or whatever? Like, he brought up something from the past because he knew that
someone was mad about the braking or something. Was it left foot braking?
Yeah, and he's like,
honestly, I think he gets I really think he gets such a bad rap, and for that, I don't know. Like, number one,
I'm gonna get punched in Atlanta. That was me. I made that joke.
Nobody really ever has any hard data to support what they're saying. And also, at the end of the day, drifting is not a race. And at the end of the day, he does keep up with the cars that he's chasing. And when he's in the lead, he clearly is not just slamming the brake. Maybe he is a little bit slower in the lead than the other guys in the lead, but like, I don't know, it is drifting. I've never sat in a driver's meeting. They're like, well, if you're not this fast, then we're going to take points off. It's fill your zones, look fluid, hit your clipping points. So like everyone just gets mad, I think, when they get beat by them.
Yeah.
I like competing. I've been competing against Petrie since Pro-Am in US Drift back in like 2018.
In the
You had a
Z3
good battle
days.
against him in you call it in Utah last year.
Yeah, I had a great battle with him, and a close battle with him in Utah. So like, I don't know, I fucking all battles. Let's run it back.
Hell yeah. Good to see Reese in the chat. What's up, buddy? Brewski said Brewski was looking sharp at the Gambler. I believe he won it, didn't he, last weekend? Or 2 weekends ago?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and that was in, I think, the Prospec chassis. I think he put that one together for that weekend as well. Probably, I would say probably the highest ranked driver on here. Although, I feel like he struggled a bit trying to run both series, and I'm kind of surprised he's doing it again because that is a lot of mental capacity to drive all day.
I mean, I don't know what Dimitri's life outside of FD is like, so I couldn't really speak to it. But yeah, I mean, I think most people would think like, oh, you're showing up there for Pro 1 anyway. Why not just shoot out to practice for Prospec? Why not just compete Prospec? You're there anyway. Right. And yeah, I mean, you can ask Rudy, you can ask Dimitri, and just from driving the series myself, I can tell you it ain't that simple.
Yeah,
you got not as simple as most people probably think it is.
Your cost doubles right then and there, essentially, minus hotels. I mean, you're buying, more tires, double the fuel.
Yeah, well, with him too, like he's working on 2 separate cars. Like cars always have some little degree of issue. Yeah. So you're trying to figure out this, and you're trying to figure out the pro car. You're switching back and forth between tires too. Like for me, like I don't think I would enjoy that. I don't think I'd enjoy practicing on a 255, then practicing on a 295, then practicing on a 255. Like personally, maybe that would be like good practice, the nuance of it, but I don't think I would like that. But yeah, it's definitely not easy. Good for him if he's going to do it again. But
hell yeah! All right, and then let's move on to Lewis Lane. Saw Lewis in the chat here earlier. Good to see you, buddy. I'm curious.
Is that the S14 guy?
No, Lewis. He's got the blue. Oh yeah, Willis. Who he's battling.
That's the S14 guy.
He's got the S14 with the big wang.
Yeah,
on it.
Lanes is the Corvette dude.
Blue Corvette.
Had all the names on it.
Yeah, with the names over the sponsor. That was that was
sponsor.
Fun.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a creative way of dealing with that, but couple.
It's better than that Mustang a couple of years ago. Remember, it was like year advertisement year.
Goober.
Dude,
remember that whole thing?
He had like crosses on the chassis, and then like
and then didn't he, like there was like a whole turmoil with like his crew member or something he thought that he like
I don't know, dude.
Set him up for failure and loosened up his lug nuts. It's like I don't know. Hope he's doing well wherever he is.
Hope he's doing well. But Brian's a guy that I'm actually really curious to see what he does this year. He caught my eye last year in Atlanta with some pretty rowdy runs, and
he's got a cool car.
It looks fun. It looks like it parties. Let's just say that.
The big wang, and it's very 2010 style, but I am very much a fan of it somehow.
Yeah, the big old BCL maybe.
Yeah.
Something.
Probably.
Probably. I don't know. Something big.
Cole Richards taking away the blower this year, going NA.
Yep.
Okay.
He's like
definitely seems to be the way people are kind of going.
Yeah.
Less of a failure.
Not that. It's like especially blowers. Blowers are heavy. It's definitely less weight. It's definitely less crap in your engine bay, especially when you're running those like centrifugal setups like the Vortex and the Pro Chargers. Like that takes up a lot in your engine bay. Or if you have like the type I have on the Mustang, they have a lot of heat soak. They get really hot. So like superchargers definitely come with their issues as well.
Yeah.
You have a root style, right? Like, what's that?
You have a root style, right?
Root style or Roush blower.
And with those, it's the belt that usually is what gets them.
No. So I think the other like the centrifugal type, like the Vortec, those guys typically have more of the belt issues because there's so much like bracketry and stuff like that going on. There's like more pulleys and it's definitely more nuanced. Where like the style I have, usually belts aren't the issue. Usually it's heat soak because it's like just sitting on top of your motor. So like
or they
building the
just
Mustang,
make too much torque, as TLO found out last round.
yeah. So like me, like that's like the main thing. I bought a very expensive intercooler for it. I have a heat exchanger in the rear for it. I actually ported the blower. Like I did like everything I can to make sure that this thing does not have too high of air intake temps. But that's like one of the drawbacks. So yeah, guys are going to like NA V8 with nitrous. I guess it's not really NA then, however you classify it. But it seems to actually make a lot of like that's what Hop did. And that's what the RTR guys kind of do. And it definitely kind of makes a lot of sense. I think the drawback to it might be is those motors are not cheap to run, you know, a naturally aspirated like 650, 700 horsepower V8 plus nitrous. Like that's not a cheap motor. That is not a junkyard LS that you just slapped a blower on and made 700 horsepower and you're E-Han out there. Like it's definitely comes with a price tag. And then when you blow that thing up, like it comes with that same price tag to replace it. Versus like even like JZs with turbos or LSs with like superchargers, I think you can get away with a decently cheaper motor build and you know compensate that with like the power adder or whatever you want to call it. But that's just what I think off the top of my head. I don't know how true anything I just said was, but that's what I think.
Well, I mean, it's just definitely general sentiment, and I mean for him. I know just talking to Cole, it was a lot about reliability. For him, he'd had issues with his blower setup a couple times, and it cost him a couple rounds.
Jersey, right, was one?
Yep, and Utah, he ran with no blower. I think he did that 2 years in a row now. And he said he enjoyed driving the car with no blower. So he was like,
you know what? That just actually made me think of it. Come this weekend when I'm back on the dyno, I'm going to do some tunes that are no blower.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Thanks.
Just in case, you know.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, that thing ran like a top last year when there was no blower on, and it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't blow my radiator cap to the 24-foot ceiling. So that was a win.
Yeah. So interesting to see. I think he's a guy that's trying to gun for a championship as well this year. But again, we'll kind of see how his year kind of pulls out. You got Human, good old Human, and Cody Dempster, assuming he makes it in this year with half of his barn burning down over.
Yeah. Matt, did you happen to see that? Where Cody's barn like burnt down?
I don't know who Cody is.
Figured. No problem. Again, my buddy over here shows up to win. Doesn't necessarily do that, but he keeps the horse blinders on.
So
I'm sorry your barn burned down.
Yeah, no, Cody's
his car was in it. That's what we were getting at.
Yeah, so he has a white Corvette, teamed up with Derek Madison last year. I think he's doing.
I know who that is.
Yeah,
Cotty. Actually, it's not. I keep forgetting.
You know what? You're right. You're right. It is
like
Cotty, even though I'm still gonna call him Cody.
I'm trying to respect his name.
Where's the other child that was in the Corvette?
Oh, Jay the Drifter that ruined the fact that you can't go to Lanier this year.
Lanier.
I don't know what you just said, but
you remember I sent you the chat of you guys can't go across the street to practice at Lanier this year because of some mishaps that happened last year because a child decided to do some crazy things in the middle of the street.
I mean, when I was 17.
He's not even old enough to have a license.
Yeah, I mean, he's an idiot. Yeah.
And then he ruined it for all of us.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, Andy was pretty strict in that group chat.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, he's not competing this year. Is to answer your initial question.
Yeah, he is.
Is it because of that? Did they say no more because of that?
No, his dad probably said you suck.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see why.
Stock market's down. Can't afford tires. Maybe next year.
Tariffs are up. Stock market's down.
Tariffs are killing the family business, son. Money's not an option.
That's right. He is from Canada, isn't he?
Yeah, he
I
is.
forgot about that.
Canadian.
Yeah.
James, oh boy.
But
ruined it.
Human, and when is he gonna do it? You know, he's been doing this a minute now.
When's he gonna do what?
I don't know. Like
He's
really,
just human, dude.
Yeah,
you know, is he just human being human?
Yeah, he's only human.
You know,
I think he just enjoys being there. I mean, I do to an extent too. Like the first couple years, I was so stressed out about it because of money and stress, which I mean, it still definitely stresses me out a little bit. But like, I got to the point where I do just enjoy being there.
Right.
You kind of take the stress away, and if it's not like absolutely murdering you financially to be there, then like, you know, like again, like I said before, you're at some of the coolest tracks. You're driving against some pretty good drivers. You're doing cool stuff. You're on the Formula Drift circuit. So Human, you know, just I don't really talk to him that much, but just seeing him there, the way he really, you know, kind of creates a nice pit setup, like, you know, trying to.
He has fun with it.
Yeah, I think he just
videos,
enjoys being there. And that's like, that's great. That's I think what everyone should strive to be. It's just to, you know, at some point enjoy being there and then progress and go from there.
Exactly.
Yep. Find the happy in the pain.
Exactly.
For sure.
Well, good to see Human back. Cody, hopefully he's got figured out that blower setup so he can, like, he's one of those guys that has the centrifugal and had all the belt issues all year. So hopefully that thing is figured out. Nate Chen, another guy, you know, been doing this for a minute as well. Probably looking at trying to go for a championship. We'll see if he can put it together. Trevor Root and Casey Cole.
T-Root
and Casey.
I love Casey Cole too. Casey's a very good guy. So.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean they're both guys that have been doing this also for a minute. Oh, you know what? Is Trevor
Root has not been doing this for a minute.
2 years.
He has it?
3 years.
No,
this is his third year.
3.
Okay, I thought he was here for longer than that. But remember he and Casey hit it in Atlanta, right?
Yep. First practice
season.
Oh yeah, that was his first FD event, his first lap in the first run of the day. And Trevor Root bombed that hill and was like, "I'm going to stick it to his door." And then he had no brakey. I know. I talked to. He like just got that car perfect. It was just like the perfect storm. Like Casey had his car where he wanted, like set up, beautiful, whatever. And like you show up to the first round, your first lap. I think it was the first lap of the day for Prospec.
Yeah.
And T. Root just sent it. And I felt bad for Trevor Root because, you know,
all eyes are on you.
All eyes are on him, and like he just like an idiot. But
yeah.
It happens, man. It
he is such a nice guy too that I know that like ultimately like he probably immediately went over and was just super apologetic. Like
that's why I felt bad for him because I talked to him after too. Like, I could tell he was hurt. He was like, "Dude, I feel so bad like that happened." And I'm like, "Dude, it's motorsports, man. Like if like I get it. If I was Casey, I'd be pretty pissed off too. But like, this is what you come here to do. And I get it. It was practice. And I get it was the first lap. And I get it was his first lap of Formula Drift. So maybe you shouldn't have sent it 10 out of 10 on his door going down the hill at Atlanta. I agree. But like, still motorsports, man. Anything can happen. And
he had that E-Town spirit going on.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, Trevor Root showed up, and Trevor Root showed up to win. So
yeah,
that's how you should show the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, excited. He's making it back out here for another year. I think, and he was another guy I think was kind of debating on it for the year. So glad to see him back out here. Casey,
that's Rob's guy.
Yep.
Yeah, so
excited.
Without him, he's gone without a ride or anything. So now Trevor's back. He's got a ride.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like you said, love Casey. I want to see Casey put together this year, though. You know, like one of those guys that, you know, can put together some awesome lead runs.
Casey drives well. He just has
he gets in his head.
I pay attention to Casey because like I'm friendly with him, and he has tough battles. You know, he's one of those where it's like he didn't do well at all last year, not because he was like being an idiot. He just like sometimes in seeding bracket you got a tough battle in seeding bracket. Like I've had Dimitri in seeding bracket. I've had Dustin Miles in seeding bracket. Like sometimes you just get a bad shake, and even if you're driving, pretty good, like if someone just inches you out, it might put you for a really bad season. That's what happened to me last year. Like I felt like I actually drove very, very well last year, especially compared to any year. But like every battle I had, for the most part, that like it was a tough battle to win, whether it was seeding bracket or top 16. It was like, so yeah, like Casey does put it together. I think he just has tough battles last year.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would agree.
We got Nick Jimenez. He actually got Rookie of the Year quietly.
Yeah.
So
very, very crazy. Yeah,
and that was with a broken car for 3 of the events.
The 350Z, the turbo J going on with the Jaeger.
Man and mystery.
Program.
Let's not make him out to be that cool.
The man he's the mystery, I guess, a little bit.
He's got some changes. He's got some cool changes for sure. So.
And this definitely is a track that he excels at. I mean, the car works really well here. He jives here. Maybe it's just opening event. All the spirits are high. You're coming into it with fire lit under your ass. Nothing.
I think he does well too, because he actually like understands like road racing and like real racing. I think that comes into effect in Atlanta. Like most of us are, like the drifters out there. Like they've never, like he's done a lot of different disciplines of like motorsports, and I think that like shines in Atlanta. I don't know why it doesn't shine in Utah, but it definitely I think shines at Atlanta. And I think that's why he does well. He actually like you kind of have to take a racing line too at Atlanta compared to like other tracks. So I think that's one of the reasons he probably does do well there.
I mean, here you can tell me this because you've driven Atlanta multiple times. I personally am not a big fan of it as a drift track because I think having that inner clip be basically is a really easy place to cut off the driver behind you. And it really kills a lot of battles on entry.
I don't think it. I guess I think if you position yourself well, it doesn't really cut you off. I think it's hard to stay with that driver because at the end, like me against Cole Richards last year, like I had trouble with this. Like like you have that inner clip, and then you have to jump out of that whole shot. Like it's like a whole shot. Like you have to catapult yourself out after you do like that really fast initiation, and like I think that's what's the hardest part in the chase, where like if you have someone that really like grips up and goes and you're not necessarily 100% prepared for it, then like that's kind of harder. Where as far as like not getting cut off, like if you just kind of really shoot more to the right, like toward the rumble strips and like kind of enter and set back, you won't get cut off. But I think the challenge comes when like that driver hits the throttle and that driver digs and tries to get out of the pocket. Like that's when it's like you really need your timing right. Like Cole Richards, I remember when I was like entering behind him, I was like, damn, we are going fast. I was like, this is definitely faster than like I'm normally going, but I'm like, I'm sticking to the plan I had. I'm entering the way I did, and I was perfect. I was right there, but like because we were going a little bit quicker than I was used to, like he got on throttle, he gripped up, and he whole shot it out of there, and I didn't. I was like trying to struggle. I was like trying to find grip. I was like, damn, dude, I'm trying to like not go off track. So I think like for me, that was like the hardest part of like not necessarily getting cut off, but trying to keep up with that driver when he decides to like light that fire, like let him go. I think to me, that was like the hardest part.
Reese says we're working on stuff with the eye emoji. And I think he's talking about working on making sure the lead drivers don't cut off. Because you can, like, if you cut that inner clip on entry, I mean, it's really hard to chase.
Yeah, because you can also get stuck in that smoke line too a little bit, right? Because like when you get to that inner clip, you get back on throttle, you start douching out this smoke, like, and if you're getting cut off, like that could definitely leave you hanging out in that smoke line an extra half a second or a full second, and that would definitely screw you up for sure. But I kind of think, and like I don't know, take my opinion for what it's worth. I think if you set yourself up correctly, where you're not trying to enter, like you really can't. I don't know, you just got to kind of enter. If you set yourself back, I think like you can easily prevent that. I think for me, there's bigger struggle. Like I've never got cut off there. I've always like been able to position myself very well on entry. It's just getting out of the whole shot and timing that correctly. Like I feel like that's a bigger challenge, at least for myself, than the getting cut off. But
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so where would you put Atlanta in like the 4 tracks that you could drive this year, like as a favorite, or is it what like
Number 2.
number
I
2?
don't know. Honestly, it's hard because I mean, let's start backwards. St. Louis sucks, right?
Right.
There's really nothing fun about that track. You're on throttle, you're off throttle, you're on throttle, you're off throttle. Like everyone knows, like that's nobody's favorite track. Like it's just not. Englishtown is hard for me to not say is my number 1 because I have so many like friends and people that are there. It's like when I say it's my home track, like it's 45 minutes down the road. Like I'm there all the time. Like if I want to test, if I want to do this, that's where I started drifting. So I have such a big community there, and like also like it's a stadium. It's under the lights. It's very great for close, tight tandem. So that's hard to say it's not my number 1. Utah, though, is absolutely sick. Like just letting your cars absolutely eat on those big turns and like big flowy transitions, no e-brake transitions. Like that's super cool too. But Atlanta also has like a very cool ambiance. And when I think about Atlanta, I'm like, man, that's really not a fun track to drive. But when I do drive it, especially in competition, I'm like, dude, this is sick. I don't know why I have that dynamic with the track where when I think about it, I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of silly. You like enter fast downhill, then you go up to this keyhole, and then you have to like
you're playing all the instruments, like you're doing like a tap dance.
Yeah, you're doing like a lot of different,
you know,
like kind of like a tap dance and a lot of different things. But then when I go out and drive it, I'm like, damn, this is cool.
It's sick. Yeah, you're working for it. It makes you feel like an actual professional driver. Is what I would imagine. That's like what makes it feel good.
Yeah, my favorite part about Atlanta, which I didn't think would be, is when you like come out, like, and the fast entries are definitely pretty cool, bombing the hill. But when you come out of the keyhole and like you transition to go like down the hill, that I don't know was so cool because you kind of get into like almost a little bit of like a pocket there where like the car just like hooks up and like digs, and then you like throw the transition back towards the wall and go up the hill, and that is like. Because that's like at the part of the run where I'm just feeling like I'm just kind of holding on for dear life. I'm just like, holy crap! Like the car's like loading up, getting in that little pocket. Like the thing's loading up. You're like have nothing left in the tank. Like the car is like it can't go anymore. Yeah. And
straightening it out, going up the hill, and
like you just feel the thing like start to grip up, and you're like, shit. Like, no, that's kind of, I don't know. I like all the tracks. Again, that's why I do FD. One of the reasons I do FD is because it's just a platform for me to go drive all these sick tracks.
Right.
Minus St. Louis.
Yeah. And it's definitely interesting this year with Grid Life. I don't know what the story is on like our FD drivers, you know, like what are you guys allowed to drive? Are they letting you guys drive that kind of stuff? Or like what's kind of the relationship with Grid Life and driving all that kind of stuff? I'm really curious to see all what yeah,
that's another thing. I don't know. I mean, I do know that like you're not allowed to drive the FD track 2 weeks before an event,
right?
So I figure we wouldn't be allowed to do it, even if they do a different layout. I don't know.
Well, what they do is they in Grid Life in previous years they'd run it so that you go down the hill, and then instead of going all the way around the keyhole, you just take a right. Correct. On the key hill, and then you take a right out of the key hill and you go underneath the bridge. It's actually sick. But so that's what they've always done in Grid Life in the past. So I assume that's what they're gonna do because they usually have there's like a full course section that you'll be able to drive the whole course. And
yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool to do it. I haven't really thought about it. I've just been so focused on.
Well, I just
hope this car going.
Hope you got some extra tires because you get one lap and you're basically done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely need some extra tires for that.
But in terms of you know, let's just exclude Matt from the championship this year because obviously he's gonna win it. Who do you got? Who do you got? You know, as like the guy to beat this year. You gotta pick one. Yeah. All 4 of you.
I already know.
3.
Why? Who's the guy to beat, or who's the guy for me to beat?
Who's the guy to beat? Or we can do both.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say for Matt to beat, I already know that.
Well, that's Alex, right?
Yeah. It's like the other 30% reason I do FD.
Just to beat Alex.
Have you guys ever battled before or no?
We battled one time at a gambler in 2020,
and that was the sickest thing ever.
And he did beat me,
but goddamn, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good battle. He got me. He got me. He got me because I practiced with him all day long. Because like we always drive together, right? If we can, we always go out and have a great time driving together. We practice all day, so like I felt very like comfortable with him driving. And man, he took off from the line like so much faster, and I was like, damn it. Like he created that little bit of gap on me, like right from the start. And like before I even entered, I was pissed. And I could not make up that little bit of gap that he had on me. And I knew that was going to be the reason I lost, because he just got me on the jump. He got me on the run up. And I was so pissed because I just felt like it could have been it was a good battle. I felt like it could have been such a better battle if I just didn't like sleep on the line. And like since then, I've never, honestly though, it was such a good lesson for me, because I have never been slept on the line since that day. No one, you can watch any battle. I may have lost, I may have spun out, I may have looked like an idiot, but nobody has got me off the line since that day. I said that will not happen to me again. So it was a good lesson.
Yeah. He wrote in the chat, I clapped his ass at the gambler. And he said, anytime I drive with Matt, I always turn it up.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have that. We've been driving together for a long time, so like we get like Hunter, even though he says it in practice, like when we we'll go out and do our practice laps, and all of a sudden we go up together and we both like just turn it up like 2 notches.
Both do 100-point runs.
Yeah, he's like, why don't you guys like drive like that all practice? And we're all like, I don't know.
Put a cardboard cutout of Alex's face on either sides of your fucking windows, you know?
Yeah, we just, I don't know, we just have that like if we like wreck each other's cars, like we're not even really gonna, I don't know, we just have like, I guess, that confidence,
right?
That you're just driving together with someone for so long. But yeah, I mean, the guy to beat is, I don't know, I think if Alex would just get his shit together, he is the guy to beat usually.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I mean, Cole Richards, like, if I'm just speaking completely objectively, like he's got the car and got the program to definitely do it. Nate Chen definitely puts in some serious effort into his program. He takes it very, very seriously, and he is someone who has definitely incrementally been getting a little bit better every season. I'm trying to think of Dimitri's obviously the guy to beat. I mean, he's a 2-time
That's
champion.
what I was going to say. Is Dimitri's probably the... I feel like he's like a good barometer of should you move up to pro or not, you know? Like...
Yeah, I mean, Dimitri, like I said, I think he gets a bad rap. I have really nothing but good stuff to say. I've battled him many times over the years. Yeah, I mean, he's like just clearly the guy to beat. I mean, he's his second season in Pro 1. He ripped in Pro 1 last year. Like I remember watching him against Shanahan at Long Beach and then Field in Orlando. Both times I was like, holy fuck, Dimitri, where the hell is that? I was like blown away. He didn't win either battle because he did just get like inched out a little bit by Field. He got inched out a little bit by Shanahan, but like, yeah, he for sure is the guy to beat. But I feel like that doesn't count because he already is like pro. Like, of course he is like the guy to beat. But he doesn't have anything to prove. He doesn't have anything to gain really from Prospec. So he doesn't really have that edge. He doesn't have the factor that the rest of us definitely have, trying to make it to the next level or whatever the case is. But
100%. Yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah. You bring up some good programs though. And you talk about the program side a lot. And is that just because you've built your own program and like you understand what it takes behind the scenes to have a car that works all 4 rounds? And
yeah, I mean, having a good program is just more than having like help and hands at the track, right? Having a good program is like the guy that built your car is the guy that works on your car at the FD rounds. He understands the car. He knows the nuts and bolts. He knows all this. And the more the driver can get separated from those things and just keep himself in a proper headspace and like not have to worry about like just so many little mundane things, because it is like running a little business, right? 4 times out of the year. So keeping yourself in the right headspace of like, hey, I'm just here to drive. These guys are here to work. These guys know what they're doing. Like you can just really put your confidence in them and not have to worry about stuff. Like my S13, like I built that thing. I'm the only one who knows every nut and bolt. I'm the only one who knows every wire. I'm the only one who truly knows how to work on that car when it needs to be. And again, like I only have so much help at these rounds. I'm slowly building up more and more help, but like they're also not the guys that build the car. They're not the guys that, you know, are there for that part of things. So having a good program is just super important in that way to what the driver drive. It's just so important when if you're struggling with your car, you're the one trying to figure it out. You're the one driving to the events. You're the one booking the hotels, paying for the dinner. Like you're just doing all these little things. And it's like driving only feels like such a small portion of it, when really it should feel like 100% of it, because that's really all you're there to do. And when you want to go up and compete at the highest level, like you headspace and all that stuff, it definitely matters. Like me, like I never stop working. Like Hunter sees me because we're in the hotel room together. Like I'll be up till midnight, 1 a.m. on my laptop, like still working.
Right
like,
next to me. And I'm like, damn.
I have a business that I have to like run, and like I'm definitely fortunate that it's at the size and the scale where I can step away for, you know, a week at a time, and, you know, things get handled, things get done, but I can't fully separate myself. So like I'm throughout the day I'm working, right? Throughout the day at FD, I'm on my phone, I'm texting, I'm emailing, I'm taking phone calls. At nighttime, I'm doing work for at least a few hours up till midnight, 1 a.m. to then wake up at whatever time to go compete. So, you know, it's hard, and there's something I definitely try to work on, is to really just at least be able to blank out for a couple hours of the day when I have to drive, and really just put my mind on that and on everything else going around, whether it's business at home or whether it's what's going on at the actual like event, and the nuances that I really shouldn't have to deal with as a driver, but I do, you know?
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, you know, and you make a good point, because I think people don't realize the behind the scenes on what it does take on a toll on you mentally. Like perfect example, I think, is Dimitri, you know, trying to run pro and Prospec, and the fact that he did not do great last year in Prospec, and I think he was just making simple mistakes that if he wasn't driving both series, I don't think he would have made, you know. So
yeah, I think that clearly took a toll on him for sure, and I don't know why he's doing it this year. Like, to be honest, like I think your focus should be
pro.
I think your focus should solely be on Pro 1. Yeah, 100%. I think Rudy definitely got that awakening last year, and he's not doing it this year. He's also got his wife in Prospec. I'm sure that has something to do with it as well. But it's like,
yeah, he just doesn't want to get beat by her. That, I think that's the real case. But, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I would not want to get beat by my wife.
You know, some people are into it, though. You know, you never know.
Ricky says Matt likes expensive milkshakes when we travel.
Yeah, everyone loves to just. I mean, honestly, I can't blame you. I mean, you can see me. I like to eat. I'm like 6'4". I'm like 260 pounds. Like, I don't like when I go out to eat. Like, I like to eat, and I treat my team and my crew to that same luxury I have. Like, I don't send them out to McDonald's while I go get a fancy steak. I'm like, we're all going to get steaks because I want freaking steak, and that's what we're doing. But you know, yeah.
Pause.
Ricky had also asked about the sandwich from the track when we were getting his PDM, when you got when I have a random second. So yeah, there's apparently a story real quick about a sandwich from the track when you were picking up your PDM.
Oh yeah, so we went to, hold on, I'm trying to screw something with my computer here. Yeah, so we went to I fried the PDM on Saturday. Like the second the car got out of the trailer, I fried my PDM, and I was like, crap. I was like, this just ruined the weekend. I am not finding a PDM. I'm not finding another PDM like in the next 2 hours. Like, there's no way. But Ricky got on the phone. He made all his phone calls, this little shyster, And we actually finally find one. I was like, holy crap, at the track at Englishtown, 10 minutes away. I'm like, God does not hate me. So I'm like so stoked. I really thought I was down another weekend of progress. We go to the track. This dude's got a PDM in one hand, and then he's got this banging sandwich in another hand. And me and Ricky are just like, dude, we got to get sandwiches. Meanwhile, this kid has everything I need to possibly take the Mustang to Atlanta. Like, if that kid didn't have a PDM, there's a very good chance the Mustang would not be in Atlanta because I would have lost this whole weekend and week of progress. But me and Ricky just can't keep our eyes off this sandwich. We're like, dude, that sandwich is good. So, like, so that's all we can think about. So we get back in his truck and we're like, dude, we got to get some sandwiches. So we go to this like, really, really nice Italian deli, like 10 minutes down the road, and just load up on some, just all kinds of just food. Cause I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, it was funny. We were just laughing about it the whole weekend. How like this kid's got the PDM in one hand, which is like everything I need to basically make it to Atlanta in one little box, and we're just like sandwich, and that's all we wanted.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, what for you this season? What's kind of your goal this season? What do you want to get out of it? Is it just you're here, having fun? You want to drive a lot. Like, what's
top three,
what do you
baby.
want to get out of this?
I ain't showing. I mean, listen, I'll say what I always say is I don't go there for second place.
Right.
I do go there to win every single time. Do I? No. But like that is what I want. That is my goal. I just happen to at least put myself in some kind of space where I can zoom out and enjoy what's going on around me, enjoy the experience of being in Formula Drift, driving these tracks. Like I've said a couple times, like I have been able to kind of slow down, zoom out, and appreciate those things, which is cool, put me in a better spot. But like I'm there to win.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I care about is going there to win. I love the drive. Like I find myself as as a driver, right? I'm not really that much of a car person. I am to a degree. I love cars. I've been obsessed with them for my whole life. But I couldn't tell you what the newest Porsche is, and the newest BMW, or what motors. Like I don't keep track of all that stuff. Like I will have much more fun. And if you gave me and Alex 2 Cavaliers in a dirt road, we will have 10 times more fun than like us in a GT3 on like the highway. Like we would. Like I love to just rip. Like I love to drive. I love to just push things to their limits. Like just kind of have that mechanical, like become one with the fucking vehicle and push it and like to its extreme, and you feel that thing fucking. I don't know. I love that. That's why I like Formula Drift. That's like, you're in these big horsepower cars and you are pushing these things to the limits. That's like one of the reasons I say one reason I find cool about Atlanta, like when you go in that keyhole and like your car you just feel it dig, and you just feel yourself just pushing that fucking thing to the limit. And it's like a 900 horsepower JZ, and you're just like holding on for the ride, like holy shit. And that's what like I love about it. And so
keeps you coming back. That's for sure.
That's what keeps me coming back. Like I said, I love the drive. When I show up to be first place. I had it in my head the first event I was ever going to go to for Formula Drift. Like I'm going to win this event.
Yeah.
That's my mentality.
Hell yeah.
Doesn't always pan out that way for whatever reason it can be, but
yeah,
I am a very, very competitive person, and I'm very, very hard on myself.
I am curious. Did you watch any of Atlanta, or have you seen any of like how the judges have been judging this year at all?
Or Long Beach?
Long Beach.
Yeah. Sorry.
So it seems like the one thing I've gathered that I do pay attention to. Usually I didn't care. I used to start not caring what the judges did or thought. I was like, well, I got to go out there. I got to drive well. I got to get my marks. I got to do this. But as I kind of learned, like you do really need to pay attention to what these judges want to see. And hopefully they stick to what they say in the driver's meeting, because that's not always the case either. There's a funny story in Orlando.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the pit with Chris Forsberg back when I shared a pit with him and Alex, and we're watching on his TV there. And he just got a bad score. He just got a 78 qualifying run, which was like terrible for Chris Forsberg. He's all pissed off. and we're sitting there watching the TV. We're watching the qualifying on the TV, and Chelsea's about to go up. And I'm sitting there with him, and he goes, watch. Chelsea's going to do everything they said not to do in the driver's meeting, and they're going to give them a 90 fucking 8. And I'm like laughing. Chelsea went and did everything they said not to do in the driver's meeting, dragging the wheel, locking the front brakes up, and he got like a 93. And then Chris was just so mad, and then he went back out for like his second run because he got pushed to the bottom, and he did like a sick like smoke show fucking run. But yeah, so what I've been paying attention to this year is they seem to be very much putting more emphasis on the lead.
Yep.
Which I think is the correct move because you cannot have a good chase without a good lead, right? That's like one of the most famous things in drifting. Mm-hmm. Very, very true. I think you should, in Prospec, the one thing I do like the way they judge, or at least the way they say they judge, and the way I think they uniformly judge for the most part, is they do emphasize the lead run because we're like, our battles are not as good as Pro 1. Like, clearly, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have the speed, the proximity, we suck compared to them. But so they like kind of take that into account. They're like, let's really focus on the leads for these guys because they're all gripping their cars up too much. They're all missing zones. So like they've always, I felt, put that emphasis on Prospec. Now I see like they're putting that emphasis also on Pro 1, and hopefully they only put more emphasis on that for Prospec because I think that is crucial. Back to the Dimitri thing, people are like, oh, he's slow. Like, who cares? He can go out there and do 2 miles an hour on 100 PSI tire pressure. And like, you can't say that he's doing anything wrong. Like you can't, because in the driver's meeting, you have to fill zones, clipping points, smooth, like transitions, snap initiations, like all that kind of stuff. No one says you got to go fast. Like whether you agree or disagree with that, like we can have that argument. But the fact is it's drifting, it's going sideways. And I like the fast. I like the grippy tires. I like running, 10 PSI on my GT radials and giving her all hell. Like I'm all about that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like it is drifting, and without a good lead, you can't have a good chase. So hopefully they do put more emphasis on that. To me, it makes me feel better as a driver to just put myself more in a headspace of like, all right, let's focus on our lead. Let's get our good lead runs down because that like is important. I know Dylan too has like an argument where he was like too easy to chase last year. And that kind of gave him an advantage. I think it was on your podcast, maybe or someone's kind of talked about that. Yeah. Which I thought was kind of like an interesting thing. I'd have to really go back and watch his battles to whether I agree or disagree, but I can see what he's talking about. Like if
for example, we asked a lot of FD drivers who was their favorite driver to follow, and Dylan Hughes was an answer most of the time. And that's either a good or bad thing,
Yeah, I mean, and that's why like I get his point because like I think I was talking with Hunter about this or someone. There's a lot of things you can never see from camera. Like when I'm in the chase with someone and they do something funky, and I'm like, damn, dude, like they definitely did something weird there. And then I look on camera, like all the angles, and it doesn't really show. But I'm like, I know I was right next to them. Like I know they checked up. I know they did some weird shit there that you just can't see on camera, or at least you really need to have a fine eye to really, really catch that. In those little and when you're pushing it, when you're at such tight proximities, at such high speeds, and all these types of things, every little maneuver that lead driver makes will have an impact on you, right? Because even if he does something silly, that doesn't mean you can just zero. If he doesn't zero, you can't zero in the chase. Yep. So you always have to be willing to make those different compensations for what the lead car is going to do. Yeah. So if he gets a little funky out front, you can't just be like, oh shit, pull back. No, you kind of need to stay with them and you need to make adjustments. So the more emphasis they put on that lead driver to not make corrections, to be smooth, to be where he's supposed to be at the timing and all that, I think that's the right direction for Formula Drift judging. One thing I will say that I like too is they've seemed to figure out more what a zero is, right? For the whole time of Formula Drift in the rule book, if you straighten, that is a zero. That was never a debated topic. A zero, if it's drifting. If you stop drifting and you drive straight, that is a zero. I think we all agreed on that for however many years. And then last year, they're like, well, if you go straight for 2 Formula drifts, then it's a 0. But if you do 1 Formula drift or 1 Formula drift, 2 Formula, but you reinitiate by drift on the second Formula drift, why? Why? They just want to create more gray area. If you straighten, you come out of drift, it's a 0. Like that seems like the easiest rule as a judge to just stick to. Yeah. And I know I'm obviously have a lot of grievance on this because that rule I felt like screwed me pretty bad that we won't get into. But like nobody was disagreeing. Like we should be allowed to go straight for a little bit, guys. Like, hey, judges, we should be allowed to go straight for like 2 seconds. Nobody was saying that. Nobody was saying that. No one had that argument. No one was in driver's meeting complaining that they got a 0 because they went straight.
Yeah.
So like, why did they change it to like 2 Formula? And then in the middle of the season 2, they changed it to 1 Formula drift. They didn't really tell anyone.
Yeah, they just dropped it.
That was 1 Formula drift. Like, okay, how about it's a 0 when you straighten. When you're out of drift and you have to reinitiate, that's something you can pretty clearly see on an overhead camera from the drone. When someone straightens and then has to reinitiate, it's pretty simple to see. All right, I'll stop there. But
no, it's true. I've always said I want rules to make drifting easier to understand, even for people getting into it. And I feel like that rule just made things more complicated. Yeah. And for me, it's like I like having the distinct. All right, you do this, it's a 0. You don't. If you obviously, they've tried to make some gray areas with some of the stuff now, which is tough for people to get into the sport.
You got Reese in the chat. He said facts.
I wish you had my back, my dude. You're a homie from the East Coast. I wish you had my back. That was just never a point of contention. And, like at the end of the day, too, to like contradict what I'm saying a little bit, not really, but like it is a judge sport. Like this is what you sign up for. This is what I signed up for. I signed up to put all my money and time and stress and aggravation into the hands of 3 guys. You do. Like when you boil it down, you are making that decision. When it comes to any other discipline of racing, like you can't beat the clock. The clock doesn't lie, right? The clock doesn't lie. Maybe but in drifting, you are at the hands of those 3 judges, right? So every time I've lost, besides like, again, 1 or 2 times, I have said, maybe I disagree with the call, but at the end of the day, I left it in the judges' hands. Yeah. I did not do well enough for the judges to just uniformly say that guy has to win, right? You have to be very self-accountable if you're going to be drifting because it's a judge sport. And there's so many battles where you can look at, you can justify to yourself, like, oh, it should have went my direction. He did this, he did. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you are arguing tiny little details that can be swayed either way. So don't leave it in the judge's hand. And that's why I don't really complain. I mean, Hunter hears me, like, again, because he's with me at all these Formula Drift rounds. Like, I do complain. I do get pissed. But, like, after an hour or so, like, and he can vouch, like, I sit there and say, well, I just shouldn't have left it in their hands. I should have done better.
And ultimately, I wouldn't want you to not be upset about not winning. You know, if you're not upset about not winning, then what are you even there for?
100%. But if you're going to get better, and if you actually are going to progress in the sport,
you got to face the facts. You got to see
be self-accountable. And like at the end of the day, you could say, "Oh, the judges screw me every time." It's like, okay, do they screw you out over a 1 or 2% sway either direction, or do they screw you out of a 20 or 30 point sway either direction, where they're just clearly sandbagging you? And that's just not the case. You left it in their hand. You left it up for interpretation. Yeah. If you want to go out and win, don't leave it up for interpretation.
100%.
Facts.
Awesome.
That's the damn truth. I did have a question actually from Andy Luck before Nate gets into probably his favorite question. How did you feel when you got to pie Ricky in the face? Directly from Andy Luck, he wanted to know how you truly felt in that moment.
It felt better because I got to do it with Andy. You know, anytime I can laugh with Andy versus get yelled at by Andy, like that's a good day. If that means it's Ricky getting a pie in the face, that's a bonus point. But I feel like that was a nice little bonding moment for me and Andy. Again, because we both, have our grievances with our friend Ricky Hoffman. But yeah, no, that was a good time. That was a good time, and I'm very happy that I did not let Andy down because Andy bet on me. to beat Ricky, and I'm very happy I didn't let him down.
Well, that does kind of bring me to my favorite question of, do you have an Andy Luck story that you can legally tell us?
Man, I feel like there are. But I can't think of any at the top of my head. I don't know. I've always had a pretty good relationship with Andy. You know, he's like, but like what I do like about Andy is like, no matter who you are, no matter what relationship you have with him, like he will put you in check, right? Like nobody gets past Andy Luck. Like it doesn't matter who you are, what status you are. You can be James Dean. Andy Luck will scold James Dean if he wears shorts and hot pit. Right,
or pull up in a Mustang halfway through the award, or is it the Navy Air Force ceremony in St. Louis? Yeah. Oh, brother.
Yeah, so he's if you can give credit anything to Andy Luck, is he is consistent. He has no favorites. I like to think I'm on his good side, but he has no favorites. And he has an important job there too, because like he is responsible for like the reason he is such a hard ass is like, again, coming from me who like understands kind of business and spending millions of dollars on insurance and all that side of things. Like he kind of is responsible for that side of things. Mm-hmm. And like when we have a bunch of idiots, like we are, they're a bunch of drifters, like a bunch of kind of idiots, and then their team's a bunch of idiots, and they're all doing idiot things. Like that all kind of does. Like someone has to be the one to crack the whip, right? Yeah. They do. Like someone has to be that guy, and Andy Luck is that guy, whether you like him for it or not. But I understand that somebody has to do it. Someone has to be liable. Someone has to take that responsibility to put these people in check.
Yeah,
that's true.
Awesome.
But I would probably say, I guess then my favorite story with him would probably be pieing Ricky in the face, especially the build up to it, because obviously they released the bracket prior to, like, I'm pretty tight with Andy. Ricky is pretty tight with Andy. So Andy was like hyping it up all the way up to Atlanta. And like, that was pretty like cool and funny. And and I ended up winning. So of course it was pretty cool.
He put it in his story and everything, right?
Yeah. Like he was like, we had a pretty big build up to this, which was like cool and funny. And also, the deal was not for me to get pied in the face. If I lost, Andy Luck was getting pied in the face.
Wow.
So I had a lot on the line there. I think I had debatably more on the line there than any battle in Formula Drift, because I don't know if there's anyone that's had a fight against Andy Luck getting a pie in the face.
Oh, man. That would have been a sight to see. Although, I will say, and I'm so mad I missed it. So at Long Beach, I just have my own personal Andy Luck story for this weekend. At Long Beach, we had protesters. I think it was like a total of 10 or 12.
There wasn't a lot.
But they all had their little noisemakers, and they were marching outside of the entrance, basically, to the FD area to get into it. Andy Luck went out there and started marching with them. And they would march in like a circle. And Andy Luck was marching with them. I am so upset I didn't get footage of this. It was during the media meeting.
Well, he took pictures with them and everything.
Yeah.
You can definitely see Andy doing that.
And so they were protesting Formula Drift being there, or like the track or
just
whatever.
Racing in general.
Racing being in Long Beach.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was amazing. Like, what guy who literally one of the organizers of the event just goes over to the protesters and starts marching with them? It's like,
yeah, that is pretty funny. Yeah, I mean every interaction I have with Andy is like, whether he's yelling at me or laughing with me, is always noteworthy.
You pretty much always expect to know, kind of like, Wednesday, if it's like load up day, you see Andy, you don't expect a happy conversation most of the time.
Yeah,
no. That's
he was last year in New Jersey. I went to a Yankee game like the day before FDNJ, and he's a big baseball fan, so maybe I'll try to maybe when he flies into New Jersey, we'll try to take him to a Yankee game, get some decent seats for him.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we'll try that, yeah.
Schmooze him up a little bit.
Schmooze him up a little bit,
Oh, that's amazing. All right, Matt, why don't you tell us how do you finance all of this? Like, obviously you just got money out the ears to do this, so it's just like...
Yeah, I mean,
you got the trees that are growing the money. That's what it is.
Yeah, the money trees.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the roof of my car says it all. Snow money.
Yes, sir. You want to
I
give the
run
same
I
spiel
mean,
that you gave at LZ World Tour?
Yeah.
what's that? Yeah, so I mean, the company that I, basically have part ownership in and been with since nothing, started basically the mower out of a back of a truck, and now we're the largest self-performing snow removal company in the state of New Jersey, and it's been a brutal ride to become that. Like, that's definitely things people don't see about me outside of drifting and what I have done to be able to afford this. Most people would not dream of.
Yeah.
That's why Hunter hears me. I definitely do walk around with a little bit of chip on my shoulder when it comes to these kids with their, mom's tit in their mouth and dad's credit card in their hand.
Damn right. Damn.
Why? Why does it kick him out after that? Come on, that was amazing. YouTube was like, nah, dude, we can't have that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, I mean, put it shortly, I have done a lot to be here. I have done a lot to be able to borderline comfortably afford to do Formula Drift out of my pocket, because sponsors, they're not doing it for Prospec.
Right.
They're just not. I have great sponsors like GK Tech, who've been with me since Pro-Am. They give me whatever I need. Like, sponsors like that have fundamentally helped in my first couple of years when I was like really struggling financially to do this. But like, they're not writing big checks. Like, go look at the Prospec field, look who's on their door, right? They're not doing, even Pro One like struggles with real big sponsorships, right? So like, if there's one advice I give to up and coming drivers, it's like, you better figure out how to make money on your own, right? You better figure out how to make your own damn money, because if you think that you're just going to be this great driver and you're going to have this great program and you're going to make these great Instagram reels and sponsors are just going to eat you up and throw money at you, you could not be more wrong. Go talk to some of just go talk to even the guys at Pro One. They struggle, even like maybe not the top tier guys, but like, even if you're in Pro One, like talk to the Jonathan Hurst and those guys, like, dude, they struggle for like real sponsorships, like, for sure. So don't get rid of the pipe dream, dude. And I fell for the pipe dream. I was like, dude, I got my Formula Drift license. Like, sponsorships are going to come flying in. No, they don't. And I build real fucking sponsorship decks. I build nice stuff. I don't have the best social media, but I have a very consistent social media. I post daily. I know you guys see that. Like, I make a big effort into that as well. And like, it doesn't pay off monetarily. I still make sure every sponsor that I have, I do all, like, and the sponsors I do have, like, they all tell me I do way more for them than any other driver really does. Like, I might not post the most tailored stuff, but I'm constantly 5 days a week putting their name on my Instagram some way, shape, or form, like posting content, like doing what at least I know how to do, and that is just to at least be consistent. So the drivers, again, like, you better figure out how to finance yourself, and then look at other motorsports, look at drag racing, look at all these other sports that have a lot more money. Look at the sides of their cars. A lot of times they're not sponsors, they're their own companies, right? They're guys that have their own companies that built their own way. And if, like, because that's how you're going to make, that's really how you're going to make it, again, unless you're like, out of the womb, like, just built into this like family organization of like motorsport family that have relationships existing and stuff like that. Like, I just don't, I think guys are crazy to think otherwise.
100%. Well, I think the chat brings up a fun point here. What about the Marines? I mean, we got now have the Army and the Air Force involved in FD.
Yeah, isn't it great to go compete against your own tax dollars? Isn't that
no, dude?
Isn't that awesome?
I mean,
to like,
okay,
why? And then two people that don't even need the money, they're just getting funded by your tax dollars. I could rant. I could fucking rant. I made $22,000 a year when I was in a combat zone for 11 months. These guys have $100,000 fucking contract. Fuck you. Fuck you. What do? Flip your hair on Instagram and have 1 million followers? Fuck you.
Damn.
That's the fact, Jack.
Fuck you.
Hey.
Sorry, but yeah, maybe I'll hit up the Marines because like I actually was one and I actually did some shit. And I actually have an American car, for Christ's sake, to even put the American brand on. But I mean, I might try to go down that avenue. But also too, like, again, back to like, I'm a pretty self-accountable person. Like, I don't really have the results to go to someone and be like, hey, you should really like invest in me. Like, I don't have those results. I don't. I'm trying to. I think I can. I think I have the potential to. It was more I get my stuff together. Yeah. Hopefully I figure out this Mustang. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. But I also just don't have that confidence of like, hey, look at the results I have. Like, who, like, you're just not gonna like come. Like, even guys that are like Dimitri, won 2-time champion. Like, at the side of his door is like his own brand. Never sell. Yep. Right? Like, that's a 2-time champion, and he struggles clearly to get big sponsorships. So I don't have the confidence in my record, at least, to really go and try and get those deals, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, hopefully I have a great year, and hopefully I get up in that top 10, top 3. Again, I don't show up for second place. I want that champion. Exactly. But after that, then I would definitely explore those conversations. Then also too, you know, especially this year, like, I make the conscious decision of like, okay, the amount of time and energy it takes to go after sponsorships and secure them, and then fulfill the actual obligations that you promise to these sponsors, such as like being on the car, such as filling social media, doing like ads and stuff. Like, okay, where is my time better invested? Is my time better invested like actually just focusing on my company that actually generates my living and like generates a lot of money? Or am I going to take that same amount of time and energy away from the company that really like just it needs me to be here and present, and try to put that to sponsorships that like are ultimately going to come out to peanuts compared to my time and energy within my own company? Like, that's just like the real of it
there too.
So I look at my time and my energy and what it should really go to. That's why too, like Function Motorsports, I definitely want to give a shout out to them. Like, they're the ones doing all this work on the Mustang. Yeah. Because it's the same concept. Like, okay, do I really take my time and energy to try to create a bandwidth to figure out this car? Not even just time. Like, it takes a lot of bandwidth to focus and understand and build these cars. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do this. Like, it takes a lot of time and energy. It's like, okay, do I put that into like building a Mustang, or do I give it to a guy who's way more capable than me and can spend 40, 50 hours a week on it? Or do I focus on my business, right? That's like essentially more important. It's essentially going to long-term give me the longevity of doing the sport versus trying to chase sponsorships when I finished in the top 30 last year. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very realistic when it comes to that.
100%. And you make a lot of good points. And the biggest thing for you is the number one revenue maker is your time, you know?
I mean, your time is your money. What you decide to do with your time is a direct correlation. Like, it's an old saying, and maybe it's a little cheesy and corny, but if you start to make money, you start to realize like, okay, how should I really be spending my time? That's why like Hunter is very good at like what he does. Like, I could sit there and try to make Instagram reels, or I could pay someone like Hunter that could do it 10 times better than me, 10 times faster than me, and like create that social media. Like, he does, like, I mean, you guys know, he does like all my social media stuff. Right? Could I do that? Yeah, but it would be worse. It would take me more time.
Your TikTok's going viral right now, by the way.
And then, so look at that. I got a viral TikTok. Maybe the Marines. But like, again, you gotta like, and I think people should really try to adapt that perspective when they're trying to become successful in motorsports, because the traditional avenues are a lot different too than they were back in the day, right? Like, it's social media. Adam LZ is like the perfect example of that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to adapt to like the market, and like the market for drifting is like, just because you have a Prospec license and just because even maybe if you finish the top 3, that doesn't really guarantee you anything. There's not saying that you shouldn't still have the mentality of doing well and chasing those sponsorships, because like someone who truly does come from nothing and doesn't have any other avenue, maybe that is their only avenue. But like, and maybe that is their best source of time. But I'm able to step back and say, okay, what is my best value of time?
Right.
And my business, my company is the most value of my time. And I've just adapted that more and more over the last like year or so.
100%. All righty, guys, we're almost at 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Thank you, Dusky.
Which is, it's absolutely flown by. We've had some great times, some great rants, and
yeah, I'm a little ranty lately. I'm not gonna lie. Something I honestly probably need to work on.
Hey, you're passionate.
So,
you put all this time and effort into.
I just get a little heated. Like I said, sometimes I just have a chip on my shoulder that doesn't need to be there.
Well, that's why we typically have our like weekly,
I'll call Hunter and I'll just rant to him for like 30 minutes about whatever it is that I'm just fired up about, but
or vice versa, and then I'll one up his rant, and he feels.
I'm sorry, guys. We were having a heart-to-heart there too. It was cute. It's a bummer. Oh. Hi.
And then he starts ranting about that person and was like way more pissed off at that person than I was. I was like, you stole my thunder, dude. Like, I don't feel like I got to vent and like do my thing. Like, what the fuck? I was like,
oh man, that's awesome.
Damn.
And that's the thing is like, this sport really does bring out that bit. Cars do that to you. Surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, anything. Again, you're putting like anything that you're really putting your all into. Like, it's gonna kind of bring that out in you. And again, you're putting yourself out like in front of everybody to fail too. That's like one thing. As I came up in drifting and was doing grassroots, everyone back then, like 2016, 17, 15, that era, like talked so much shit about competition, and like I very quickly began to realize like. You talk shit about competition because you're scared to go out there and lose, and because then someone can say, hey, I'm better than you, right? Where in drifting, so much of it is like club, so much of it is fun, which is great. I love that aspect of it, but no one can say, oh, you're not great. Oh, you're not as good as this person if you're just going out there and doing it for fun. When you go out there and you spend your money and you put your all into something and then fail, like that's kind of like a difficult place. It's hard for people to put themselves in that position and then to fail over and over and over again and still go out there and still put yourself on that stage and like be willing to fail in front of people. And it's definitely a difficult thing to do,
100%. No.
Yeah, brother.
I think that was a fun convo. That was great.
Where could they find you there, Dusky?
You tell them, dude. You tell them. What do I pay you for?
Find Bystrak Racing at Matthew Bystrak Racing, right? Is it that Matthew?
It's
Bystrak
500.
Racing,
There's a 500 in there.
Oh my god.
I don't know. He changed his name to one day, and I was like, "Damn, that's really long." And then
I got a long name, dude. I'm Polish.
He's literally pulling it up because he doesn't know.
Me?
You?
No, I'm not pulling it up. And then TikTok is MB Racing 500. YouTube is Matthew Bystrak. Yeah, check him out. We're going to be doing a lot more content this year, a lot more personalized. You get to really see the true side of Dusty.
I want to see the rants. I want to see
This is what I'm saying.
the hatred.
I mean, but the
The
problem
vlogs
is,
with the rants.
so the rants need, the ones that are on camera currently are archived. They won't ever probably see the light of day because they are.
They may. I may pull that trigger and just really show. I may really just show you my.
Well, it's a good thing that it's on my hard drive, so I'm gonna keep that. Maybe I'll get a lockbox. Maybe I might just go to a gun range one day and throw that bitch up onto a thing and just shoot that hard drive. But yeah, I mean, a lot more catered to content this year because I do want the world to see how fun Matt really is. A lot of people see him walking around the pits and they don't realize, because he is, like you said, a 6'4", 260-pound Marine of just a meat man of just intensity. You look at him and you're like, wow, this guy is probably a dick. And then you talk to him and you're like, wow, this dude's really nice. And it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
I think
he's, like,
I would
really
continue
funny.
with the dick part, but it's okay.
But like he could be a dick, but like honestly true. It's never out of left field. He's never gonna come to you and just talk shit to you if you didn't in some way deserve it. And that's the same
I'm a
thing with
very nice
Alex.
guy. I think I'm a very nice guy. I mean,
It's the same thing with Alex. It's the same thing with Ricky. And yeah, like, so I want more people to realize who Bystrak really is, and show the people, you know, sometimes the people don't really realize what they need to hear, and you got a lot of things to say about what people really need to hear. So
yeah, I mean, I think I do. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people also think I'm a narcissist. So
yeah, they do. We do. Well, but if you realize that the people that think about that are the ones that will never leave Jefferson or do anything. So yeah.
No. Call them out right now. Who is it? First, last name? Go.
I don't know any off the top of my head. Just haters.
Yeah,
Haters.
you know, haters be haters. All right, guys. Herbie, Brandon,
Yo.
what are you guys doing? Anything cool?
Just staying cool, dude. Living La Vida Loca.
Living La Vida.
All right, my laptop is on like 2%, so I don't want to. I don't want it to just shut down and lose you guys like that. So
yeah, no, we're ending the stream off here. I got another 8 seconds. Throw in what you want. Oh yeah, be sure to like the stream, subscribe. The pro show.